Peace to the room and welcome. Um, I'm Eve, and the letter of the day is C for coon. For constructive communication. So let's begin. While I don't agree that we have to take back or take over the government to get things accomplished, I understand people are feeling a little lost on what they can do while we make our demands known. So you say you want the black vote. Rather, you want other blacks to vote. I'm here to help. Help in the way that people who aren't familiar with this type of work can look to for answers. Answers to some questions that have been explained, articulated, and said many times and in many ways. And yeah, that seems a little redundant, right? But I would ask you to ask yourself, is your family on code? Like your actual blood relative family? Do they know what to look for or how to spot a wolf in sheep's clothing? If you answered honestly, we'd come to the conclusion that most Black people in America are not on code. Most. Yes, there is a critical mass brewing, but if you were expecting change not to look like this, I'd hate to be the one ruining your dreams. It feels the equivalent of me waking you up on the wrong side of the bed. And for that, I apologize. I'm sorry I didn't do it sooner, you lazy, comfortable bastards. Yeah, it's like that. So, back to what I was saying. You say you want the black vote. Well, here's what you need to do in order for us to listen to you. Out of the ways of most of our parents and grandparents. The grandchildren and great grandchildren of integration ain't playing with y'all no more. No tangibles, no vote. I feel like a broken record on perpetual repeat. I refuse to believe you beautiful, melanated people are out here this dense. But I know that we're fighting a system that's designed to keep people dumb, designed to keep you slow and not asking questions. So without further ado, I threw a post in the jumbo. Does your black candidate? Does your black candidate have a black agenda? Do they support direct cash payments for descendants of American slavery? Do they want to punish the racist white supremacists for their blatant disregard for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for the people they owe it to? Does this candidate support killing babies? Immigration. Immigration read the cucking of our resources, land, and otherwise to other groups who aren't from here. These questions need to be asked and answered before considering throwing your support behind anyone saying they want the black vote. Because let's be honest, if they just wanted votes, they wouldn't go out of their way to say the black vote. As soon as you put that label on it, well, now you have our attention. Why do you have our attention? Well, you called us by name. So surely you have something specifically set aside for us. Specifically. The most important part of the list is a black agenda, because inside that black agenda, it's somewhat of an umbrella. Much of the list is covered under the umbrella of a black agenda. However, we want transparency with our candidates. People who are going out of their way to name us need to be specific about what they will do for us if we give them the vote. It'll not be a good idea for people who want the black vote to allow anyone to summarize or put into their own words or otherwise what will happen for and to the black people in their area or the country. I'm saying you want the black vote, right? You might end up with no black vote if you aren't specific to what you will do for the black community. No tangibles, no vote. Hashtag cut the check. Okay, some of y'all think that since you've been here, boots on the ground, longer than others, that gives you the authority to present us with some bullshit. We aren't buying it. Some of you want the vote so bad you will align with someone else before the person has been properly vetted. And that's not right either. Let's put this to bed. Having a black spouse and children and leading with that is the equivalent of saying, yeah, I know a few black people. What's worse is if you're the head of that household, you are literally in control over the resources over those black people you know. You are literally getting over on them in real time. Many a slave owner fucked an enslaved black and forced their seed to be born into the same, if not worse, subjugation. The past has been wonderfully and remarkably kept up with many references in this department. Don't believe me? Ask the Washingtons or the Jeffersons. I rest my case on that. And yeah, you might say that all slave owners didn't physically abuse their property. However, if they held any human property, I'd say that's not someone you should be listening to help you. You should be listening to them to be prepared for how they're about to screw you. In this current age of technology, black people are being inundated with options and poor selection inside of those options. People who are looking for us to put them over the edge or on the map. They're out here in droves. In the age of technology, people you don't know and people you do know can follow you, listen to you, listen to things that you're putting out there, and put on a costume. This costume will not be flashy. It'll actually make you feel comfortable, and then you're spilling the beans on all our secrets. Or at the bare minimum, you feel comfortable around them, and because they aren't presenting as a direct threat, you get a little comfortable with how they speak and how they move. First red flag when vetting a political candidate that specifically says they want the Black vote: how long have they been out here? If their internet presence is less than a year old, I'd say they aren't serious about the vote. We are literally living in a time where everyone has a baby computer in their back pocket. If they aren't themselves technologically savvy, they can hire someone to run their social media. Problem solved. But they might not be someone who wants to solve problems. And that's a problem. Our elder, Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., impressed upon me that we need to keep asking questions and not move on from our first question until we get the answer to that first question. That's something that we're guilty of, moving on to the next question without getting the answer to the first question. It seems easier to move on to the next question. Maybe we can circle back to the original question, but that's not logical. We have to be a people who has a logical foundation. Without it, the dominant society will keep us on a perpetual loop of emotions. Another red flag when vetting a political candidate is who wants the Black vote? Do they know who the Black people are? No, really. If they think that reparations are a race-based and not lineage-based, well, Houston, we have a problem. The problem with the term freedman is that it doesn't directly put a person in the category of being a descendant of the formerly enslaved. You can be a melanated person who got here after the hoopla, and because it was a classification given to us by the government, it's problematic. Didn't you learn last year or in the years previously that power is defining yourself? We're Black, native to this land Black, not just born here, but of here, this soil. According to the Library of Congress, and I quote, "For its part, the federal government established the Freedmen's Bureau, a temporary agency to provide food, clothing, and medical care to refugees in the South, especially freed slaves. Special boards were established to set up schools for African Americans in the South, and Black and white teachers from the North and South worked to help young and old become literate. Some African Americans in the South were encouraged to move to northern cities where jobs would be available. Extending the vote to Black Americans was hotly debated," end quote. I want you to pay attention to one thing. They said it themselves, especially freed slaves. Why would the Freedmen's Bureau be for anyone other than the freed slaves? It's because it's one of the first ways they used on paper to keep us away from what's rightfully ours. Foundational Black America has always been Black first. That's why when a suspected white supremacist approaches one of us, other foundational Black American men come to back them up, one on their 10 and one on their 6, with zero questions, only seeing that some foolery is about to happen and that we don't allow that type of nonsense to occur around us. Foundational Black America has always been a people to look out for one another. That's why when Madam C.J. Walker moved from the sticks to the city, the women in the area laced her up with some game and helped her polish her look. That's why some of y'all have people in your family right now that give to the homeless, that do soup kitchens and donate their money to church. They and we are a selfless people. It's time to get selfish, if only because they're putting our names in their mouth. Third red flag before I'm finished my screed. If you aren't from here, you really should be using this time to listen and not speak. Whether you're an illegal, a regular immigrant, first, second, third generation, all of you need to shut the fuck up, respectfully. Because what's owed isn't owed to you. You will not dictate what we get or how we get it. You are not in charge. If anything, you can take what we say and amplify it. That's all. And if you can't do that, I respectfully ask that you not speak, especially that you not bring people around that haven't been vetted by us already. You aren't doing yourself or us any favors being the front man for a wolf in sheep's clothing. Now, I'm not saying this hasn't already been hashed out. Yeah, some people feel like they've done the work and are allowed to speak up for us. I would remind y'all, check out this website, www.officialfba.com. Scroll down to the bottom, and I'll quote, "The danger of dual allegiances. Historically, there have been two types of half FBA individuals in a general sense. You've got the loyalists to their FBA lineage and heritage, And then you've got the anchor tethers who view FBA society as a group to exploit and ultimately replace. Foundational Black America has to be currently skeptical about certain half foundationals because those people want to act as spokespersons for the foundationals. If a person has dual allegiances to different ethnic groups and cultures, it's difficult to determine if they will look out for the best interests of the foundational Black American culture and people. Even full FBA, who have a history of prioritizing other groups, religions, and sexual intersectionality over the best interests of foundational Black Americans, must be viewed with reservation. In almost all Native and Aboriginal societies, when the people allowed outsiders with dual allegiances to other nations or ethnic groups act as their representatives, this ultimately caused the decline of their societies. This happened in the 16th century when the Portuguese colonizers called the Laçanados married into the royal West African families. The mixed race offspring from these unions who were elevated to powerful positions often sided with the European side of their lineage to ultimately undermine African society and help facilitate the transatlantic slave trade. The same thing happened to many Native American tribes who allowed European colonizers to intermarry into their groups and become representatives for them. This was the beginning of the decline of their societies. In modern times, the white establishment deliberately elevates non-foundationals or anchor tethers to act as spokespersons and leaders for foundational Black Americans. And the result of this practice has been devastating for us. For this reason, foundational Black Americans should only consider other qualified, full foundational Black American representatives to act as spokespersons for the collective interests of the ethnic group, end quote. And if I've said all of this and you feel I'm wrong, well, you can raise your hand and I'll see what you have to say. But if what I've said this afternoon makes sense, please, please, I'm begging you, please use discernment when talking to people who want your vote. We have non-negotiables on the table. Non-negotiables. That means don't deviate. Once you start deviating, they will start taking away the important things from their presentation. The things that are specific to us, they'll give it away to people who aren't us. So that's all I had to say on that. If anybody wants to speak on this, you're more than welcome to. I don't plan on having this space for a very long time, but I had some things to get off my chest because I just feel like we're in a good spot to have constructive conversations. Remember, the letter of the day today is C for constructive communication. Peace to you, my sister Lioness Crown. Welcome to my paperwork check space.
First of all, ma'am, I know you're a teacher and all, but you didn't have to put that particular voice on and drop all of those jewels. No, I really appreciated it. I like the way that you laid all of that out. It was very clear. It was very concise. I don't think it's anything that most of us who are really serious about this work and delineation and the work of reparations and really being grassroots is nothing different from what we've been saying like the entire time. So I'm not sure how we woke up one day this week and this turned into a sort of integrated movement. Like I must have missed that memo, but I really like the checklist that you put in the chat. I like the tweets that you tweeted earlier, and especially this one. When you tell white people they can't cosplay as you, they block you, right? So I see that you and I have something in common. I addressed this European yesterday directly, and told him that he does not have permission at all any place to debate anything reparations related with me, and that we will continue to have these conversations together. But he issued a fake apology. Y'all can go back and hear the recorded space from Brother Prime, and then he blocked me. So we are going to continue holding the line. We're going to continue setting high standards and some real cultural boundaries. What I don't appreciate and what disheartens me even more is this sort of back and forth, and folks who claim to be of our lineage, who also claim to be out here doing the work, using their platforms and times in these threads, especially under this European thread, and sort of egging him on, sort of emboldening this suspected white supremacist to continue on with their internalized, bigoted white superiority complex. Completely off code. Absolutely off code. We should not be calling our brothers and sisters dumb, stupid, undereducated, any of those things, or siding with a European over our own blood. So I'm just going to land on that and go back on mute. But thank you for having this space. Thank you for bringing some clarity and some facts and some history and some data to the conversation as well.
Much respect to you, and I appreciate you being here. I appreciate all of you being here. If you didn't hear my screed, it was like 15 minutes, and I recorded it this time. So you can definitely go back and listen. I think it's very important for us to have discernment in these conversations, because just because someone has been vetted doesn't mean that the person that they bring around has been vetted. And I think that that's important. We can't just be allowing people around just because we're cool with one of them. Like, they don't do that anywhere else. We're doing it all the time now, it seems. Peace to you, Joe. Joe. What's up?
Peace, peace. How y'all doing, man? What's going on, Linus? What's going on, Raheem? Everybody else, Candace, I see y'all down there. Check this out, right? Um, I try to play the field, and I try not to be on the porch with it. But this right here, I got to put my family on notice because there's a lot of people affiliated with that Freedman term that I got love for. But I've come to notice that the people that subscribe to that term do not really understand counter-racist science. They're not like scholars or followers or students of, Dr. Francis Quest Wilson, Neely Fuller Jr., Amos Wilson. Like, you don't see these people citing these books, and that's a problem. That's problematic. I believe that what should be a part of the code for our lineage, when it comes to someone being on the forefront with reparations, they need to be someone that is abreast on counter-racist science as well. I've just witnessed those guys get bamboozled. That a white man has claimed the term of freedman. He said, I'm freedman first. He did not say I support freedman first. He did not say I will be there for
That
freedman
part.
first. He
Joe, you said a
said,
fucking word, my brother.
he said, I'm freedman first. So they've been compromised. To me personally, they've been compromised. I got a lot of love for my Freedman family, but me personally, I recognize when the fix is in. The fix is in and it's locked. And everyone who speaks against it are getting what you call it, pushed back. I had a person tweet me talking about we need white allies. Yeah, we need white allies, but I don't need a white representative. That's the problem. That's the problem. We can have an ally. You can support me all day. You can signal boost it. You can talk about, hey, y'all, come here. Da, 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 da. But when you start talking about I'm freedman first, that's problematic. That's white supremacy taking both sides in the argument. We know that our elder Neely Fuller taught us about this long time ago, that the white supremacists like to take all sides in the argument, whatever goddamn side they can get in, because they want to win. It ain't about being right or wrong. They want to win. They want to secure victory. So we can't be taking no L's. I'll be damned if I hear this cracker come up and talk about he FBA first. Man, he getting, man, all kind of, man, look here, he'll probably suspend his account. We'll be on his ass so motherfucking hard. But anyway, let me get on off here, man. Man, I just want my Freedman family. If you're listening, man, this is a big fuck up. Somebody needs to check some of these folks that are co-signing this person and allowing them to run rampant or with you guys' term. That is dangerous, and FBA ain't having it. If he comes to our sector, we're kicking him out. I promise you. We will get him out of the paint. Peace.
Much respect to you, Joe. And yes, you said a word. It was that tweet that set me off today when he said, I'm freedman first. And I said that's political appropriation, and we don't do that shit over here. But the term freedman isn't even ours. Like, it's something that the government gave us. So if other people are just allowing people to just use it, I get it. But no, you let him start classifying himself as FBA or black or native. No, that these are terms that our elders have come up with: native black, foundational black. These
Right,
are ours, and I'm not
right.
allowing anybody to come and usurp anything. So,
Hey,
much respect to you,
I,
Joe.
before I drop down, I gave you a follow as well.
Much respect. Thank you for that. My brother Ogun came up, and Lioness got her hand up. So, Ogun, it's up to you. Let Lioness go first, or you can go.
Yeah, go ahead, sis.
Thank you very much. I just want to I want to co-sign and support everything our brother JoJo just said. And I would also like to add to that. A lot of us have been using a lot of terms: descendants of American slaves, indigenous blacks, indigenous Black Americans, foundational Black American, etc. Freedmen. A lot of us have been using those terms interchangeably. And so I've been really clear about describing us as a lineage. So I usually say those who identify with X, Y, and Z, all of those different terms, because at the end of the day, we are a lineage. So if we're talking about lineage-based politics, lineage-based empowerment, and lineage-based reparations, there is no way a European, to me, could come up and say, yeah, I am insert lineage first, and he's not of the lineage. That's the bottom line. So, I mean, people can play around with the term or whatever and play politics all day long, but we're talking about gatekeeping our lineage and really paying homage to our ancestors and what's due to us and what's owed to us as a distinct ethnic group. So I wanted to name that.
We have to continue to say these things out loud. So I appreciate the repetition. Apparently, some niggas aren't getting it, but I guess the letter of the day being C can also go for circles. And we're going to continue to, repeat these things over and over until they get it through their coon head. Peace to you, my brother Ogun. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me. I just wanted to chime in with you guys real quick. Do I sound okay? I got my headphones on. Can you hear me okay?
It's muffled.
All right, let me take them off. Thank you. All right, is that a little bit better?
Oh, yeah, that's better. Yes.
Yeah, what I wanted to say, and I just wanted to piggyback on what you guys have been saying as far as reparations. We basically, when it comes to talking about reparations, it's always got to go back to lineage based. I always say take it back to the basics. The first thing we want to ask when people are talking about running for office as it relates to us, pandering to us, is who, first of all, who do they listen to? What do they think about the Black media? That's the first question. If they don't know who the Black media is, that's a big red flag, number one. And if they claim to, know who the Black media is, but they don't have any comments on it at all, that's red flag number two. I don't think nothing that we do, as far as when you think about the grassroots and as far as the changing the whole trajectory of Black America and what happened as far as the whole woke movement happened, that we can't forget where that came from originally. That came through Hidden Colors. And then from there, we've seen the rest of the Black media and so on and so forth. So what I'm listening for when people talk about reparations is who are you affiliated with? And if you don't know who the Black media is, what about the people, the sub-Black media, Tory and Rand, Your Black World, Vicky Diller, who else do you know? If you can't name anybody, 9 times out of 10, you're an op, you're a suspect, and we should basically look at you sideways. And then also, too, as far as co-signing people, if the Black media hasn't co-signed them and you co-sign them, understand you are now the big red flag we're looking at. So that's just kind of how we move. And what I wanted to do before I got off the mic was just go back to the basics, the 5 pillars of reparations. Of course, is compensation, restitution, rehabilitation, satisfaction, and guarantees of non-repetition. Now, if anybody moves away from any of that, they are suspect. And that's just where I'm coming from. That's just my 2 cents. And much respect to the beautiful ladies and the brothers on here.
Much respect to you, my brother Okun. I appreciate your support as always. And I'm definitely a student of the new black media. So I would definitely agree with what you just said. If they don't know the people that are giving us news that we can use, that's another red flag. But I get it. It's actually almost impossible for the new black media to vet everybody. That shit's not going to happen. However, we the people can do things like we can start using discernment to put people in appropriate categories if they aren't talking with the right thing, or if they haven't even been out long enough for us to see their patterns. Then that's a sign right there. Not saying that they're not going to work for us, but it is saying, like, before I throw you some support, I need some tangible benefits that you've already done, or a record. Show me what you've done. What have you done for us? And if it's just a bunch of lip service, well, now you've got another red flag. And a bunch of red flags on the play sound like the person isn't serious about doing what needs to be done. That's, I mean, that's my follow up on what you just said. Peace to you, Raheem. Welcome.
Peace, Black Power, and reparations to the family. I definitely was tuned in and I was listening to all that you said. And I hope, for those that missed this live, that they will be able to go back and to be able to listen to what you said. Because it was a lot that was in there that I was like, oh, wow. And you put it together so precisely. So I want to say that before I start. Now, I do want to address this guy, Gabriel. Um, he was unknown to me until 2 days ago when he first came up on the radar. So that's a red flag for me, because I am definitely immersed in the Black experience as well as the reparation movement. Um, and many of y'all already dissected, white supremacy takes both sides of the argument, and we always got to remember, right? Their motto is win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. That's their motto. So once we know that, and then we know who these individuals are, we know that they Yakub, they're the devil, the worstest devil of the grafted type. And you can't just be out here blindly co-signing them. When he said he's Freeman first, I had to respond to that. And, the brother Naheem, he says that he support him 1,000,000%. And my response is this, man. If you haven't walked and talked with him, if you didn't spend the block with him, y'all didn't break bread, you only know him from his persona online. Like, you haven't physically been in his presence and on the ground with him in Chicago. How could you can say, okay, what he's saying or what he's selling sounds good, and then you observe a person. You know what I mean? And it's just like, yo, listen, everything is about politics, right? There's street politics, and the individuals that's from the street, you're supposed to know that you cannot just co-sign someone. You know what I mean? Now, in the street element, if you bring somebody around and people ask you, yo, you know him? You co-signing him? Anything that he do that you held responsible for. You know what I mean? There's a sword above your head if he does something wrong. And then to do this, you know what I mean? I didn't see no one, since you're speaking about him, I didn't see him, forcibly come out and say that about FBA, Marcel, who had a reparation platform. So to do this for this Neanderthal, man, it's just like, ugh. You know what I mean? It just gets me the wrong way. But I'm not gonna keep y'all long. I just want to say peace, Black Power, and reparation to the family, man. And let's keep doing what we're doing. Victory is certain. My name is Raheem Shabazz, and I yield the mic.
Much respect to you for that. I appreciate your support as always. And something that needs to be said, it's been pointed out a bunch of different times that we are very quick to hold each other to a standard, but then we kind of shy away from holding the spaghetti head to a standard. I don't like that. I think that that's dumb. I think that if you are comfortable, you know, with making sure that I know where I belong or whatever the totem pole is, and these white people who want to speak for us should also not be comfortable. I remember me and my brother Ogun Spirit, we were really harsh on Marcel from the jump. Like, I don't know. And I did not see the same type of vetting going on with Gabe, who has blocked me for telling him he can't cosplay as us. That's a problem. I see that there's some people who want to request. I don't know some of y'all, so that's why I haven't let you up. But the people that I do know, let you up. And people who are on stage, Ogun, Lioness, y'all can speak.
Yeah, and I just want to say this here real quick. We went hard on Marcel. We were, you know what I mean, because we had never heard of him before, you know, when he came out and we started interviewing him. So we were just on him, like grilling him. We talking about cash payments, right? We were asking him the tough questions. So when I hear somebody stopping people from asking this white dude questions, I start to look at them sideways. Because what are you having the Twitter space for with this white dude speaking and saying anything if nobody can grill him? So off top, I'm not taking the dude seriously. It sounds like none of you are. And yeah, so go ahead, Linus.
Thank you. Yeah, I have the co-host now. Thank you, Sister Eve. I see some people who are going to come up, and I'm going to start bringing some people up. This is going to be a very civil conversation, and we're going to speak on facts, and we're going to stand on truth. That's all I ask as we have this space. Someone just spoke about vetting. Nobody's above being vetted. I would just like to add for the record, when the National Reparations League's rally popped up, first of all, that space that happened, that Juicy hosted, that space wasn't supposed to happen. That conversation should not have been a space at all. Actually, that could have been handled, was supposed to be handled offline, but that's a different story. However, this same pattern of folks saying, hey, I vouch for this person, so you can't question them. No, we're going to question and vet everybody. Nobody's above being vetted. And the narrative was spun out of control. Oh, they think that they're the only ones that can speak for reparations. Nobody ever said that. But if we're talking about vetting and see if people are actually going to represent us, no one is above that process. And just because one person has vetted them or gotten familiar with a particular candidate or someone who's, wants to come around the community and support the community, I'm talking about Black people, then we get to ask questions. But yet, on the flip side, months later down the line, we see the same pattern of, don't challenge this person if some of us have vetted them already or we co-signed them. And we're talking about a whole European. So that's the part that I don't get. So I'm going to have us go to our brother, Don Mulio. And then we're going to go to our sister, Black Native.
Hey, peace, family. Shout out to the room. Thank you for the space, Sister Jess Eve, Sister Lioness. Thank y'all so much. Yeah, paperwork check. I'm gonna be honest with you. Paperwork check really, for me, is only for our people. Gay is white. That cracker wasn't gonna get no support from me based solely off of that. I don't know what's going on with you know what I'm saying, with these new revolutionaries, reparationists, and people standing up for our people, but I'm Old Testament. Based off of the fact that he's white, I don't give a damn what he talk about. I don't give a damn who he's married to. I don't care what college he went to. I don't care if he opened up the door at Publix for a 99-year-old Black woman. That cracker wasn't gonna get my respect. He wasn't gonna get my support just because he's white. Never mind the fact that when we started asking him questions, his true colors really, really came out, and his vitriol for Black people really came out. He's blocked multiple brothers and sisters. You got these freedmen, and the reason why I'm saying it like this is because, unfortunately, we've been on this cracker's tail, pause, for the last 2 or 3 days. And the only people that seem to be covering for him is our freedmen brothers and sisters. And we have asked them to open up a space, since they're the ones who introduced him to us. Open up a space, make this white boy apologize for disrespecting Black people. And nobody wants to do that. We've even had people like Brother Naheem get on the mic praise this white boy and say that, oh, he's for us and all this other stuff, but nobody wants to address the fact that he talked crazy about black people who are claiming our indigenous side. I'm gonna go ahead and yield the mic to the sister because I see she got her hand up, but this should be a general rule of thumb, and really and truly, we should have always been raised on this. You don't take sides with no white person against no black person under no circumstances. Unless that black person is a low down, dirty shit eater, you don't take no cracker side over your own people. As much as I disagree with a lot of things that Naheem says, there's not a white person alive that could get on this app and talk crazy about Naheem, and I would allow it. All right. It's a bunch of people in these spaces that I disagree with, but if you black, we can handle that internally and we can have our so we can have our disagreements amongst the family. But the fact that freedmen are not only covering for this white boy, it is making me question what is his role really, because you're not going to crash out and jump out the window over a nobody. I suspect, and a lot of people suspect, that Gabe is not where he is by accident. People have confessed that they've known who he was for a long time, but for some odd reason, they chose at the top of 2023 to roll this white boy out. So that within itself lets us know that we got to do some more domestic delineation, because apparently we got some cracker lovers amongst us. And I yield the mic.
Much respect. And to your point about Brother Naheem, he had his hand up, but then he left. So he's more than welcome to come speak in this space. I, like you, don't necessarily agree with everything that everybody says, but black first. That I really mean that shit. I really, truly mean that. And we have to be treating each other differently than they treat us, or you're gonna get put in a category that you don't belong. And maybe that's where you want to be. I don't know. But go ahead, Black Native. Peace to you, sis.
Peace to you. Peace to Lioness Crown. I love your voice, by the way. And it was a beautiful breakdown. Beautiful. I came into a space. I've been seeing this white man's name floating around on Twitter maybe for the past 2 days. And I also did see that tweet where he states that he was the first freedman. It was something to that effect. I saw the tweet today. And it's the audacity. It's like, see, once we give these people an inch, they want to take 5 miles. He should have never been in a position to even have a discussion, or nonetheless be disrespectful in a black space to any black person. He should have been checked and corrected right then and there on the spot. But for some reason, I don't know what it is. I came in a space with Friedman yesterday, and he was in there, Gabe or Gabriel, whatever his name is. But I came in late, so the space was ended. So I didn't even really get to hear what was being said in the space. But I was in another space, and we were discussing the same white man, and somebody pulled up his resume. He has no activism work on his resume. It shows that he's a writer or he writes for a newspaper. So who are all these people claiming that they know him from way back when he was doing activist work, when there's nothing on his resume? And I like when Lioness Crown brought up Rashad Singleton, because when that happened with Rashad, everybody wanted to vent him. He came up there, and we didn't just take his word for it. We didn't take anybody else's word for it, like they knew him for 3 or 4 years. We vetted him, and he's a black man. So for us to just allow some unknown Johnny come lately white man to come into our movement and then claim himself as a freedman is a slap in the face, and it's insulting, and he should be brought up in these spaces and answer for that. I don't understand who's protecting this man and why are they protecting this man. That's a good question. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for allowing me to speak, sisters.
Great
Yes,
point.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Great points. Go ahead, Oga.
Nah, she was hitting it right on the nose. I just don't. I'm trying to figure out who the fuck he is and why is he relevant at all. That's why I don't really be in a lot of Twitter spaces like that. You don't really see me in. You know what I mean? I just sit back and observe and listen, because shit like that comes out of nowhere. So when I do come back on Twitter Space, I hear people talking about this white dude. The first thing I heard was Lioness Crown going in and saying, "Hey, this dude has said a couple of questionable things, so we should not overlook that." Respectfully, she was trying to be cool when she was checking dude on that. But if we're going to vet black people, black politicians, or whoever that are speaking for us hard, we should do it doubly, triply, quadruply when it comes to white folks. And actually, they shouldn't even be speaking for us at all. They need to be doing what we told them to tell them to do, and that's it. And if they start talking shit or talking sideways, they get about the paint. And it shouldn't even be no question about that.
Absolutely. You've got people right now in 2023 saying that we shouldn't be paid reparations because we don't know what to do with it. But then you get on Twitter and you see that niggas don't know how to treat each other because they'd rather jump over hoops and through all sorts of obstacles to make sure that Gabe is comfortable. And I don't think that that's right. I'm sorry. And I think that it has something to do with dual allegiances. Maybe you don't mean to be this way, but it's in your blood. And if you can't help it, then you might need to just be quiet because there's already enough information out there about what needs to be done. We don't need to remix anything. I think that the template's are already there. And like Joe said earlier, people are not reading books. They don't know who these elders are, people who've already put in the work with regards to how much, when, and who, that we're allowing all these opportunities for people to come and remix things. And that's not right. So I don't know. Peace to you, Joe. I see you came back up, but let's get before you go, Joe. My brother Romy is in Chicago, so I'd love to hear if he knows anything about Gabe, or his paperwork, or if he's where it needs to be or not. But go ahead, Jay Romy. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Okay, this is my first space ever really speaking. Like the brother said earlier, though, like I don't really do the spaces too much. It's been a while since I even attended one, but I did listen to Marcel's the other night, and it caught my attention because I saw that the guy said he was from Chicago. So I said, okay, well let me tune in and see what's going on with the dude. So at this point, I'm kind of just listening. I'm not gonna say that I'm 100% on board with him, but me being from Chicago, some of the things that he said struck a nerve with me. In a positive way, I have to say, because I'm from this city. I've been here 46 years. So when he was talking about the ward that he's representing, that is 100% a black area. And something he brought up that also struck me when he was saying there's 12 other people that's running for this alderman spot or whatever, and they're all black, but none of them are talking about reparations. So I understand where a lot of people are coming back with the pushback. Okay, this is a white guy. Can we trust him and all of that? That's a valid point and question. But then I have to double back and think, okay, we got all these Negroes that's running for this spot, but none of them got the balls to say anything about reparations. The area he's talking about, like I say, is 100% a black area that he's, trying to, in his words, the things he was saying that he wanted to do is things that need to be done in that area. And you got black people that's running for office, and they're not even talking about any of that kind of stuff.
I got a question for you. Okay, and so what exactly is he saying he's going to do for the people in Chicago specifically?
Well, like I said, I just listened to Marcel's his space. I can't say that I vetted the dude, super hard like that, but he was talking about I know he said that he was in favor of cash reparations. It was some other things about like a lot of black people are losing their homes over there. They are getting evicted. He wanted to do something about eviction, and that's 100% something that's happening to black people in that area. Something else I heard him say, he was talking about a Freedman Bank and things of that nature, So, like I say, I don't have a lot of time to be on Twitter.
Now, was he using foundational Black Americans specifically? Was he using that term? And the reason why I asked that is because Freedman doesn't necessarily have the word black in it, so people can, use that word. Some people use it interchangeably, and others try to steal in like a $5 type FBA and say, "Yeah, I'm Freedman, and yeah, I'm free. I came from that time." But when you put Black, foundational Black American, and you use it, specifically, you're naming a specific lineage of people, and you're not mistaking it for anybody. Now, some people may use, Native Black American and so on and so forth interchangeably. But what did he say about foundational Black Americans?
I hear what you're saying, brother. You know what I'm saying? But, me personally, I don't really subscribe to the freedman term. That's something that I've come in contact with Marcel when he came around. But I'm talking about strictly the area of Chicago he's referring to. And that is a foundational FBA people. That's not a mixed area. The area he's representing and talking about, that's Negroes. City Negroes.
Let me ask you this, though. I don't mean to cut you off, and I don't like when people cut people off. But just to try to move this along a little bit quicker, don't you think that that's a problem? That there is a black area that this white guy wants to have control over the resources and who gets what? Like, to me, if he were really on code, I guess, on code for whatever it's worth, then he would prop up another black person and say, look, I'm going to help you with what you need to do. I don't know. Like, it seems like he wants to be in control of. And then on top of that, if you're gonna come out here and say, look at all what these niggas aren't doing for y'all, this is what I'm gonna do for you, it seems like some white savior complex shit, which kind of goes back to his whole suspected white supremacy of it all. I don't know. Do you see it like that or not?
Sister Jesse, real quick, brother Jay Romy. I don't think you were in the room.
Let me answer a question because it's fresh on my mind. Can I answer that? And then I answer you, bro. Just from the space that I heard. So, to answer your question, just from the space I heard, he said that he was going to other black people in the area saying that, hey, man, why don't you run, try to be alderman, and nobody was really trying to do it. And they kind of pushed it back on him. He also was naming other black people that was like on this campaign of people that are really active in the area that he was dependent on and that was really doing a lot of the footwork. So, and then again, let me also go back to Chicago is one of them old boy type towns. If y'all not from here, y'all don't know. It's really connected. You know what I mean? So, and all the black people we got here that's aldermen and got these positions, they not doing shit. When we even talk about Uncle Lori, she black, but she not doing a damn thing for people here. So, I understand what y'all saying about, is it a white savior? And I'm not one of them people. I was thrown off when I saw he was a white guy, but if we just gonna be honest about it, the Negroes that been here and been running it all this time, they ain't doing a damn thing. So somebody got to do something. So I don't know.
Somebody got to do something. Can't be the answer. And the reason why that can't be the answer is because we're asking about what he's doing. We're not asking about what black people ain't doing, because we already know what they ain't doing. What is he doing? How much money is he talking about? When is this allocation of money and cash payments is supposed to happen? Did he talk about specifics, brother? And I'm just asking questions if you heard any of that.
Like I said, it was just like one little space that him and Marcel did that I listened to. So I didn't get, he didn't break it all the way down like that. But, he did say the only thing I caught issue with was he kept on pushing it back to just strictly federal reparations. He wasn't saying on the state level. So that's what kind of gave me a little pause. But other than that, some of the things that I heard, like, I thought it was, okay. It was okay. I'm not saying I'm 100% on board with the dude because I don't know nothing about him. But some of the other people that I know from Chicago that have talked about reparations in the past, some black dudes, they shaky. So he was actually talking a little bit better than them. Because I know one, Willie Wilson, I'm gonna wrap it up. Willie Wilson, he's a black dude here that was running for mayor. He was talking about reparations, but he got clicked up with Cobra, so that threw everything off. There was another young brother, Jamal Green here. He was talking about reparations, but he was strictly just talking about Chase Bank on us. He didn't get into anybody else. So, like I say, I'm just listening and trying to figure it out.
Don Mulio, you can go on you, but let me ask a question to the family because maybe I'm just politically ignorant here. Is the alderman a local position or a federal position?
Local.
Okay, so he's talking about reparations and he doesn't even have control over what he's talking about when he could actually be talking about something that he has control over. That, to me, is another red flag. But I know we've got hands up and I'm not trying to hog the mic. I really am not. So let's go to Joe. Wait, Don Mulio. It's on you first. Then Joe. Then I think Lioness has something to say.
In fairness, I already spoke. I could wait till you circulate the room, dear sister.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting when we're thinking about who is being vetted, how they're being vetted. I saw Brother Naheem said that Rashad was met with disrespect. He was met with the same skepticism that Marcel was met with, as well as other people were met with. And it's really important that we do vet and are skeptical, because, you know, both rallies happened, right, in DC, which is where I am. And, you know, there have been allegations swirling, especially from the right and white supremacists, that money was offered actually for folks from the National Reparations League to speak to white supremacists, allegedly, and that those white supremacists had reached out to that group several times, allegedly, and offered them money, or at least one of them, money to speak to said white supremacist group, allegedly, and that those, at least one person from that organization went on the eve of their rally, allegedly, and spoke to said white supremacists and allegedly took said money. So I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't help plan that. But when we start to think about people who just appear out the blue without being vetted and not necessarily knowing where money is coming from or who people are or who's behind people, like, this is my first time hearing that this dude Gabe actually has no real activism background, but that he was a journalist. We know that the media is an enemy to Black people, especially to our lineage, and has been historically. So everybody gets to be vetted. And when there's clarity and we know who people are and what they're up to, then there won't be all these allegations and things swirling around. But, you know, I have reason to believe from many people, and actually coming from not just the grassroots, but also from the right, which is really, really interesting, of who takes money to speak with who about reparations for our people. So if that is true, then the vetting process that I participated in, I see y'all hit me up, y'all sending me emojis and stuff like that. If these allegations are actually true, anyone could be answerable to this, whoever attended said meeting, if that actually happened. But if these allegations are true, then we were completely right. And we did our due diligence and our civic duty to make sure that we gatekeep our lineage and anyone who's talking about reparations, because I would really hate to believe with all my heart and my soul that any of my brothers or sisters were actually paid by a group of white supremacists to speak to them that actually funded a rally about reparations. I'm gonna let y'all sit with that for a second.
And while we marinate on that, let's go ahead and go to the next person. Who was next?
I think it was JoJo, and then
Yeah.
it was JoJo.
Yeah. Hey, so I had to come back up here, man, cause and I don't want to seem condescending, man, when I say this, you know, but sometimes when we talking about white supremacy, we're not just talking about a person with a hood on, you know. We're not just talking about somebody that will call you nigger, okay? We're talking about people that will look like you and usher in white people or white policies, or that will mimic you down to the teeth. These people have mimicked us. They have mimicked us. They have been mimicking us for years. We know the history, man. Just because someone sounds and talks like they're going to do something does not mean shit. Stop with the wishful thinking. White supremacy plays both sides. If I got Black people that ain't gonna do nothing for me, and I got white people that ain't gonna do nothing for me, but they sounded like they're gonna do something for me, let me look at their shit. And if it ain't adding up, they ain't doing nothing for me neither. Obviously, something ain't adding up in this whole situation, because what done happen is you got, and I'm putting people on notice right now, and I'm saying this. I'm not finna, you know, you can do your own due diligence, because I've been just watching. But that brother Naheem off code, I'm letting it be known. He's on notice. I know what he looked like. I'm not an internet dude, so we ain't gonna do the back and forth internet beefing. Who else is off code with a motherfucker? That Freedman Perspective dude. That dude's off code. You backing up this white guy, nigga. You off code. You know, when we're talking about understanding white supremacy, man, we gotta know how they move, man. All this just trying to get on here sound smart like you just for reparations, but you trying to allocate that shit somewhere else, or you're here to derail something. We peep the fix coming in. That's why FBA gatekeep our lineage so tough, man. You just can't come over here like that. If you got people trying to protect a white person that is getting vetted, first of all, and then you took Marcel through the motherfucking ringer for about 3 weeks. Russ Mike skint Marcel alive. You see what I'm saying? And now you got motherfucker trying to defend a white dude that barely even came in, got his toe wet. He just mimicking the words. He ain't even really mimicking the words. He just reciting what they saying. And you got folks talking about he did some work. What motherfucking work? He ain't did no damn work. Cause the sister just said he ain't did no activism. So, y'all people that, you know what I'm saying, trying to fixing this, well, who we gonna have to represent us? Or we need allies. An ally is different from a representative. An ally is somebody that supports you and helping you get to the goal. A representative is somebody that stands in front of you. They represent you. Come on, man. You got to remember this. The white supremacists uses words. That's how they use this counter-racist science, man. We know this in the book. My interdependent code to this situation is that I'm putting these people on notice, man. I'm letting y'all know, man, be mindful of that Naheem, whoever he is, be mindful of that dude. I don't like the way he moving, especially the way he just responded talking about somebody on the internet. And I hope he played his back because I know what his face looked like, and I want him to get gangster. I don't play that shit. All that online shit, I don't play it, man. These motherfuckers are trying to goddamn come and take our
Yes,
reparations
sir.
claim, y'all. They're
Yes,
trying to
sir.
take our reparations claim, y'all. Y'all better gatekeep. Y'all better watch out. If you catch a white person talking about some they FBA first, check their ass. Check, cause we
Yeah,
ain't opening
and
no
that's the
doors.
thing. And that's the thing. I'm glad you mentioned that because what he said was he's freedman first, but notice he ain't never gonna say he's black first, and that is in foundational Black American. You can't say foundational Black American without that black. And so if he's not claiming to be black first, he need to get the fuck up out of here with that bullshit. If he ain't talking about a certain amount on a certain day to a certain group of people, foundational Black Americans, I don't even want to hear it. Let's go to the next person. Who's next?
Facts.
Sister,
We're gonna go to Hugh.
yeah, I was
Can't
going to say
say it.
Sister
Yeah,
Darling Nikki.
that's Darling Nikki, right? But before she says that, just I don't know if y'all are paying attention to the people who are following you, but I wasn't until a couple days ago, and I saw that he's been following me for a little while, and now he's not following me because I'm blocked because I told him he can't cosplay as us. So maybe check up on who is following you because these people are listening to us. Legit are listening to us. We're having conversations that are supposed to be safe places. I did the air quotes. Did you hear it? Safe places. All right, the internet's not safe. So we have to be more codified in what we're talking about and how we're talking and who we're talking to. And I think that's very important. Go ahead, darling Nikki. Peace to you, sis.
Peace to you guys. Good evening. From where I am, it's 5 o'clock. So words are spelled because this is how it's operating right now, and that's why ADOS had the issues that they had. Um, then I want to touch on the fact that there are 12 other candidates that haven't been vetted, but there's a campaign to garner monetary support for this person before we've even vetted the 12 other candidates, right? So, and I keep asking that question, why is that happening? You know, and nobody seems to answer that question for me. Um, and I think I'm just going to leave it right there. Shout out to Tribe for waking this shit up once again.
Much respect.
Thank you.
Definitely need people putting things in the spotlight. And like a lot of people have already said, okay, maybe you can't be on Twitter all day or whatever, but when people are putting spotlights on things, it's time to pay attention. Like I'm not saying you need to listen to everybody because everybody's out to help you. No, a lot of these people are out here not to help you. And if you're not listening or paying attention, then you're going to be ran over by the bus that's coming 100 miles an hour in your direction. Um, Go ahead, Don Mulio.
Yeah, family. I want to say this too because a statement was made last night in the space that it's policy over black faces. I want reparations as badly as anybody in this room, but it has to be done under the right circumstances. And I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I would rather not get reparations in my lifetime and have legit black leadership stomping for us than to have white people so-called representing us and we get a shitty deal. Because what ends up happening is this: they could cut our reparations checks tonight if they wanted to, but they'll allow somebody like a Gabe to come in, or another white person, and let them ascend to a certain level, then quote unquote give us our damn checks only after they can attach it to white people. Other words, yeah, y'all got y'all reparations, but because of this white man, because of this white woman, and we already know it's gonna be a shitty deal. I think that black people have the political acumen, the political IQ high enough to get our reparations. Everything else we done got in this country, we done got on our damn own. So all of a sudden, when it comes to our checks, we got to depend on this fat ass cracker who's only listen. And this is his own words. He said that the reason why he feels compelled to speak on reparations is because of his freedman wife. You go back into that space. I asked him a question. I said, "How long have you been married to her?" He gave us a number. And I said, "Prior to that, have you been with black women before?" He said, "Yes." So this cracker's only claim to fame is having sex with freedmen women, aka black women. That's what he said. I'm not putting words in his mouth. And anybody who was in that space, they know that. So
No, you're not putting words in his mouth. And shout out to Jackson because he put it very beautifully yesterday when I was listening to him speak. It's derogatory. You cannot lead with "I'm fucking a black person." That's rude. It's like saying I know some black people. And I don't give a shit if you know some black people or not. Like, what have you done for those black people you know? And if it's nothing, then you probably aren't the person we're looking for. Like, thank you. Come again. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yes.
oh no, you good, family. But I'm very, very adamant about running this cracker down, and anybody that feels like they're not going to check him, because let's be very clear about something. Um if you don't feel like you're accountable to the grassroots, then the grassroots is not going to be accountable for you. And I would hope that people don't think that they can ever get to a point politically where they can shit on us. Because let us be very clear, we're in the business of molding our own candidates. And I'm proud of the brothers and sisters like a Dion, et cetera, who we have vetted. But don't ever get this shit twisted and think that because now we can't vet other people and put them out ahead of you, because it can be done. This incident could be wrapped up in a matter of one space. You bring that fat ass cracker before the family, make him apologize. If he doesn't apologize, then you know for a fact you're dealing with a damn white supremacist, and make sure his ass is not good nowhere in Chicago or anywhere else he tries to run. But like I said last night, they're not going to do that because you got people, especially like Naheem, he just wants to get cozy with white folks. This ain't about reparations for a nigga like that. This is about getting cozy with white folks, brushing arms with the boule, and as much as that nigga changes his identity, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that nigga in a rap video as an extra for Kendrick Lamar next.
Why Kendrick Lamar of all people?
Damn, you just cooked them. Bars.
Hey, I want to ask, how many hosts y'all got up there?
2.
Yeah, because I don't need nobody else moving me out the paint, because I had a speaker speaking like he was the host, talking about I move on. Man, you better stay your ass in the speaker position. I just talk.
Um, I will always
There
allow
it
my
is.
brother Ogun to speak whenever he wants to speak. The support is both ways around here. So no, he's not a co-host, but you can just look at him as a person who is trying to move this conversation along. I am a student of the New Black Media, and I have some work to do in a couple hours. I also have a bunch of kids that I need to feed. So I'm trying to, I've said everything that I needed to say, but because this is a conversation, the letter of the day is C for constructive conversation. I didn't want it to just be like I just said my speech and then y'all can't say anything back. I don't believe in that. And like I said, Naheem had his hand up, but then he left. and I don't know what that's about.
Actually, when I
So
mentioned the National Reparations League and how we vetted Rashad and how I vetted Rashad, that's when he left initially. And then I saw him in the chat. I told him that he was invited to come up. And then, he came back, but he didn't take the mic. And I did say something about things that have been swirling. I live in DC. This is a small town. There's independents here. There's Republicans. There's Democrats. There's white supremacists. There's grassroots people. There's Pan-Africanists. There's this, there's that, there's this and that. There's no reason why there should be any allegations about anything reparations funded allegedly coming from white supremacists.
To that point, and I'm gonna let some other people go. I see my sister Katie came up, my brother Sonny. Peace to both of y'all. Fred, you've had your hand up, so definitely you first. But he can't, when he says, look at all these other niggas running, they're not doing anything for you. That's another red flag. We cannot allow people to shit on us. I don't care if they're not doing what needs to be done. He needs to be leading with what he's done. And that's what they do with the Democrats and the Republicans. They say, oh, well, look what he didn't do for you. No, y'all need to start talking about what you have done. And then that would make someone want to vote for you. You can't play the shit on somebody game when you want someone to vote. I don't believe in that. And I think that we are growing as a people who are also not following that advice anymore. So shout out to y'all. Fred first, then Katie, then Sonny.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. One thing I'd like to say is this. When I hear terms like FBA and then some are saying freedmen, some are saying Native Black Americans, I always thought that was all the same thing, because we're referring to the group of people who descended from American slavery, who's actually owed reparations by this government. Now, as far as this white man, he might be on code, might not, but every Black person in here should understand, anytime you invite a white person to a barbecue, they're going to be off code. They're going to do something that they shouldn't be doing. Now, if we don't, like I say, if I don't care what term it is, we need to get together or come up with the term that's going to specify the Blacks who descended from American slavery, reparations specifically for our group, benefits specifically for our group. Then, because see, if we don't get it right, please don't expect this white man to. So if we, because see,
But
right
Fred,
now,
I don't
yeah,
mean to cut you off, but you already did it. We already know who we are. We're Black. And what do I mean by that? I mean, we literally have been begging niggas to be Black for like the last 50 years, and they don't want to be. They want to be Nigerian. They want to be Jamaican. They want to be Haitian. Okay, fine. Y'all take your classification and go with it. We're Black over here. Every person in
okay,
my
so
family has
is that
always been identified as Black.
the term that's going to specify the Blacks in America who descended from American slavery? Is everybody going to be satisfied with that term when somebody says that?
I don't think it matters if everybody's satisfied with the term. Just can you prove your lineage? And that's really what it is. If you can prove
Okay,
your lineage, it doesn't matter what term you use.
okay, well, there are what is as long as we're talking about the same people who's owed. The reason I'm saying that is because I'm just trying to get it all straight. Okay, now, right now we're at a point to where none of these parties can move without us, and they're starting to see that. So whatever terms we come down with, we can make our own terms and then give it to them, or they can come to us, and then we can enforce what we want from them. That's all I'd have to say. Mute.
Much respect, but you're going to find a lot of issues inside of there trying to get everybody to agree the same thing. That's never going to happen. The government already knows who we are, literally. Like on your driver's license, it says Black/African American. And to that point, if your Black ass owes some taxes, they will find you. They know who we are already, really, truly. Like we don't have to jump through all these hoops, because that's another caveat that becomes a red flag. They're
Okay,
saying,
Lord, can
well,
I
if
ask
you
a
can
question?
prove that you're who you are, then we'll give you reparations. No. You know who I am, and you've been known who I am. You didn't want me to know who I was, but now I know, and it's time to cut the check. Thank you, Linus, for doing that. Go ahead, Katie.
Thank you, sis, for hosting this space. Now, since when did we start giving grace to white folks when it comes to the vetting process? we already know how these people have been operating and how we've been subjugated to a lot of the evilness that they possess for, I don't know, centuries now. So just because one white person says the word reparations, we are supposed to just, draw the line in the sand for that. You know what this shit sound like to me, sis? It sound like the one white dude that know how to hit the Dougie real good, and it's, oh, he invited to the cookout. This how that shit feels to me. So fuck that shit. I'm no, it's not giving anything for me personally. I do not trust this man, and I don't give a damn how many black women you lay up with. It's the same as when white women feel they can say nigger freely because they have biracial children or they got a black boyfriend, whatever the case may be. Being with another black person does not give you the wherewithal to disrespect anybody's lineage, let alone disrespect Black American people in general. So by that notion right there, automatically disqualified. Then on top of this, another thing that I don't like is folks is out here pushing this man's donation box. We got black American candidates that we ain't even fucking spaying quarters for. And you think that I'm supposed to tip my goddamn jaw over to you when it's qualified Black American candidates who we haven't even gave $5 to yet? I wish the fuck I would. I can't do that. I cannot bring myself to do anything like that. Reparations now is trending. And I think that is the catchphrase now to get anybody's attention. That right there alone should not be enough for us to not do our due diligence and do our homework on these people. You see what I'm saying? Don't be surprised if he fuck around in 10-15 years from now, he have a Jared Jones moment where we catch him in the picture doing some shit, or some shit pop off that he done fucking done. Because when the question was asked to this man about his upbringing as far as his background, all he did was talk about his political background. That's a big red flag to me. Like, what was your personal life like? But I didn't see a need for me personally to have any questions for him. My mind is already made up. I'm already biased against those people. Not only is he a European, he's also an Italian, and we know how they do not like us at all. So all of this, being cute online, just trying to get people riled up because they like to play on our emotions as Black Americans. We are emotional beings, and that's no disrespect to any of us, but we are emotional beings, and they know that that has been the way for them to get to us in the past. But as I've been saying for a good while now, we're applying logic over emotions, and if that hurts your feelings in the process, then please move the fuck around me, because at the end of the damn day, the mission is what's important to me. And I want what's best for my people as far as tangibles are concerned. But I'm not willing to just let anybody just lead the charge just because they say this keyword or that keyword. Now, as far as people making excuses for this white man, but allowing other Black American candidates who are running on the reparations platform to be disrespected, and allow them no grace when it comes to the vetting process. But this white man is where we draw the line. I can't fuck with that shit. I'm never going to be able to fuck with that. I will never, ever walk on eggshells or the feelings of a European over another Black man who's just as qualified, or if more qualified, to lead the reparations task than he is. So just because he has pale skin, I'm not giving him no goddamn grace. I'm not gonna do it. In addition to that, this man has the complexion for the protection. He does not need us at the end of the day. If he wanted to get this alderman position just based off of what he looks like alone, he will get that shit. But this right here is just another opportunity for him to try to dive into our conversation or show up to our cookout, if that makes any sense. But there will be no invitations to the cookout. The cookout has a paperwork check list only, and if you're not on that fucking list, you cannot get in. This is a lineage party at the end of the day. So whose ever feelings are hurt behind this, I do not care. um it's the same, it's the same situation to me, whereas we always talk about wanting to fight against the system of white supremacy, or when we have people who actually speak out unapologetically about it, it's like, oh no, don't say that. Why you say this? Why you do this? Why you do that? Don't talk to that white man like that. Ain't nobody trying to hear that shit. Look, we giving it to y'all straight, raw and uncut from here on out. This is what it is. We tell you what to do, and if you do not like it, please run along to the cave from which you came. We're not doing that shit no more. Y'all better wake up and stop letting people emotionally fuck y'all when it's time for us to start applying logic. Because if we don't do that, we're going to be back at square one once again. I don't got time to keep on resetting y'all. We got too much work to do.
Thank you, Sister Katie. And speaking of work, thank you for your work. I'm sorry that you have to deal with trolling, people telling lies on you. My experience of you is when you say you're going to do something, you do it. And anytime you have anything coming up that I can support, I'm going to support it. I don't care who likes it or not. So I just need to say that. We are often harder on people in the community who do legit work than we are being with this European. So I wanted to name that. The other thing I want to name just really quickly, I see a lot of ignorance being passed on. Well, really it's arrogance, right? So for people to say, what have they done? Or they don't understand politics, or these people are stupid, they don't understand civics. Well, if you have that information, then teach. I'm an educator, so I would never expect, or talk down or look down on somebody for not knowing what I know or what I have studied. I am duty bound to teach, understand, or to offer information or to share information, but we're not going to punch down on our people, because for real, this reparations movement has sparked a level of political interest and political advocacy and activism that really wasn't here 20 years ago. So we got a whole bunch of people, right? A lot of us millennials, Generation X, even baby boomers and younger people that want to get involved and that want to learn the way. They want to know how politics work, and they want reparations. And so we don't get to punish people or troll people or make fun of people ignorantly and arrogantly based off of what they don't know. And I say that as your sister and also as an educator. Right? There's a lot of us in here who are educators. We go into spaces all the time where information is shared. We learn from each other. We share information. So let's keep that energy and not use anti-Black racist tropes about how stupid and ignorant or dumb Black people are. I'm going to land my plane on that.
Much respect. Shout out to the elder, Mr. Neely Fuller, who says, I'm learning. Ask him how he's doing, and it's, I'm learning. We need to get away from the emotions, ask some questions, and stop. Just stop. Stop, really, because it's a lot of people who aren't saying the right thing or say they are saying the right thing. I would say, who have they been following? Who have they been listening to? And if there's no evidence of their work, then you need to hold them out with a long-handled spoon or something. I don't know. I think my biggest issue is that other people have been vetted, and then those people might feel like it's okay for them to bring somebody around and we're supposed to just take it. No, the vetting process is all around. And if you got held to the ringer so hard, you should want somebody else to be held to the same standard. You wouldn't want them to just be able to get over just because you brought them around. What type of vetting process is that? I don't know. Sunny was about to go, but Sunny's gone. So let's go to my brother, Sage. Actually, Sage, before you go, Lebo.d.g. You've been up here for a minute. What's up?
Yeah, we gotta screen these people, and really don't understand. I don't know where that man came from, and that's my area too. It's like, he just came out of nowhere, and it's like they sliding the okey doke on us. They pulling the curtain on us, and we going like how y'all just said. He just looking at, he probably got a his girlfriend writing everything, researching everything. He just reading it to us, and it just sounds good, and we going for it. And ain't checked the man background, checked his history, and y'all saying it's really making me pissed now. His only claim to fame is he messed with a black chick. That don't even sound right. That don't sound right at all. That's like, man, that's the wildest, craziest stuff in the world, and that's what he running on. And we going for that, and he gonna get us our bread. How? He ain't finna get us no bread. It's the information age. We all need to go look up the information. It ain't the industry age, it ain't the agriculture age, it's the information age. So all of us need to be researching it, studying it, being scholars, and pass down knowledge on, like the sister was just saying. But we definitely need to get on top of this stuff, bro. Cause they ain't gonna do it for us. You know they ain't gonna do it for us. They gonna give us the okie doke. Oh yeah, this blue, but it's really red. On the real. They ain't come on, y'all. We ain't slow. Well, I'm gonna give y'all this and I'm finna go. You are prepared, you are provided with the instructions for using the tools and strategies for wellness that can help you through this life. Health is the most important thing in the universe. Has it the first and last of our existence. A wise man has good health because love for the body. We gotta love our body. Prepare y'all mind. Read material on wellness all through your decision to detox is a private individual want for support. You may choose to speak to others who are on the path to becoming a supreme man of ultimate wellness. Prepare your spirit. Consider reciting and reflect upon the affirmations from the both the teachings of the healing. Choose to reflect upon words and situations you want to restore to wellness or the body part. Remember, you are focused on the revitalize and rejuvenate, prepare for and perform man heal thyself meditation, the vision quest, man heal thyself. Step one, early morning rise. Ain't no more good morning.
Okay, brother. Let's go ahead and
I
go to
knew
the
you were
next hand
coming.
real
Thank
quick.
you.
We'll come back around to you, okay, brother? Joe, go ahead and go, Joe.
All right, hey, my brother finna get ready to drop that thing. Hey, but I wanted to give my VGQ right quick, and I'm gonna get up out of here, right? And peace to the family, man. I was going over the edge earlier, but like I was seething, man. It's like it's so hard for our people to see sometimes, and you telling them, and then they willfully being ignorant. But what I want to say is this, right? Since when do we vet anybody to represent us that is not of us, right? Like that's red flag number one. That's red flag number one. At no point in given time should I be vetting no white person to represent me when it comes to justice. There's no way possible. It
Actually,
just
let me
goes
um let
against.
me let me play devil's advocate really quick, just really quick.
Okay, go
The
ahead.
way that we've got the presidency set up, right? Joe Biden's in office, Trump could have been in office, could have been Hillary, whatever. I think people are using the fact that we said, I don't care who's in office, you're going to cut the check. And they took that and they said, oh, well, they don't care who's in office as long as they write the check. And there's a miscommunication there of sorts because it's not as much as who's in office is what they're talking about, what they've done, and do they have a record of lying for real, for real. And one of the speakers earlier was talking about their MO, you know, win by any means necessary. If you have to cheat, cheat. If you got to lie, lie. Like that is what we're dealing with. But we're such a loving people. I say this all the time. I really need us to get cold and jaded because everybody's taking our shit. And if you're not like the people in this room who've stood up and said, hey, you're not going to take my shit, not without a fight, like if Gabe had said he was an FBA first, I think all hell would have broke loose in that damn room. But because he said Freedman first, and as I told you guys earlier today, Freedman is a term that was given to you by the government, and it didn't necessarily only mean you. That, I don't know, people are not learning from what's going on. So just devil's advocate there. Maybe they got confused, but I'm glad we're able to have constructive conversations so that we can clarify what it is. And if they're still going to be in the way, then that person needs to get out of the way. I invited Prime to this space for that purpose. He's not here. I think he's doing a book reading. Prime being Freedman. I did do that. He's not here. Okay. Joe, I didn't mean to cut you off. Just wanted to
Oh,
throw that out there real quick.
it's all good because that is a good way to communicate to the people that ain't understanding what the hell I'm talking about. Because there are the actual ingredients in between from we get from point A to point B. Like there's movement and motion, there's action that takes place. But I definitely understand that I don't need to be vetting no white person when it comes to representation for justice. We're looking for justice. So there's no such thing as me trying to vet somebody that is not of me from the race that keeps me down. And then I got other people gatekeeping for that person. That's big. That's red flag number two. So when you get other black people gatekeeping for a white person that is of the race that oppresses our people historically, and then you got folks actually pushing back. That's why I say I'm glad the lineage right now is clicking up, regardless if we got each other blocked or not. We are this motherfucking lineage, and we right here, we representing. We know that that ain't coming our way. We're putting people on notice. This is how we rock, and this is how we stand. You can't just come over here and just claim what you is, and you ain't your paperwork ain't on deck. So you can claim Freedman all day, cause that thing, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, it's like a loose leaf. You know, it can blow in the wind, but you can't be claiming you FBA or you DOACS or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You claim that it's black descendants, black natives. You can't claim that and don't be black and don't have the paperwork together. But anyway, I'm gonna land my plane there. Much love to the family. I appreciate y'all putting these people on notice. I'm glad it's being recorded. I just wonder what Tariq gonna say about this shit, cause this shit gonna be funny.
Much respect to you. Thanks for coming back, Sonny. I thought I lost you. Peace to you. Let's go to you.
Yeah, peace, family. Nah, I had a phone call. Yeah, peace. What's going down, Sister Eve and Lioness and KD and everybody on stage. Peace to the family. Um, yeah, man. It's I knew that this was going to happen. It's a conflict of interest. You know, I don't really know what's going on. You know, and checking the temperature with the Freeman family, like this whole feeling of being like the gatekeepers of reparations. It's just mad weird. And yeah, that has to be called out. In Prime Space, I seen a lot of people get kicked off the stage, you know, who were trying to vet him and ask him questions, and it turned into a mockery. You know, it was definitely like a lot of protecting this white dude. You know, but anytime it was time to talk to black people, it was irate, it was yelling, it was shouting, it was cussing black people out. Um, and you know, yeah, that's pretty much, you know, what's been happening in these spaces. And this is something that we definitely got to safeguard with reparations. If anything, you know, I feel like more. I know I keep hearing about is black people out there, you know, who are running. They need to be brought in with the grassroots and to be groomed to have the talking points to the grassroots. I would rather have that as an option better, you know, than running, you know, with this white dude. Let them know, bring them in, let them know what type of time we on. You know, what type of tangibles that we're asking for, so we can move forward. Because like you said before, the history of Italians and black people, it's never been good. I don't know where this. Have y'all not seen the Bronx Tale? Goddamn, do the right thing. Like all like pretty much all, like a lot of the Black American classics is black people and Italians clashing just off of pop culture alone. I don't even want to talk about, you know, stuff that's actually happened, you know, through a lot of our cities. RP to the brother Yusuf Hawkins out there in New York and Brooklyn. You know, so it's always been, you know, this tension, you know, between black Americans and Italians. And it also strikes a nerve to me for whenever I never heard this dude's playing for Italians. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Anytime somebody is going to pick another ethnic group over their own ethnic group, I got to look at it side eye. What if he only is able to do certain things? You know what I'm saying? If he has a option to choose to give the bag or to benefit black people or Italians, who y'all think he going to pick, man? Like, we gotta wake up and just, you know, just understand what's really going on. That's pretty much all I'm gonna say right there. I'm gonna land my mic.
Much respect to you, Sonny. As always, I think that you always bring some clarity, some things. I think we've said a lot this evening. Here's some moment of clarity. With Prime, I don't know if y'all know, but he's the one that's in the video. Jade, I don't know if you have it still on your timeline, but Foundational Black American came to this guy's aid in real time because, again, we're Black first. I don't know if y'all know, but it doesn't take much for us to see some off-code shits happening and then to step in real time. I'm glad that delineation is happening because it's showing in real time why certain people shouldn't be speaking up. They have something going on, whether they know it's going on or not. And I think that it's important that we're paying attention to what's going on. And to the speakers, I'm going to let Sir Major cut the line because he had me blocked for a little while. I guess now I'm unblocked because he's in the space. So peace to you, Sir Major. What's up?
Oh no, I respect the queue. Go ahead to the next person. Thank you.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Did I not be heard? Sir Major, it's your turn to speak. peace to you. You have me blocked for a little while. I'm unblocked because you're in my space. So what's up?
And I said, yeah, you can go to the next speaker.
Well, he
I'll
got nothing to
respect the
say,
queue.
so maybe you should take his mic away. It's his turn. He don't want to talk. He don't need a mic.
Respectfully, I'd like to move the conversation along. Like I said, I don't have a lot of time tonight to do this. This is the letter of the day today, kids, is C for constructive conversation, not for cooning or anything else. I think Sage, I had said you can go next, so let's go Sage and then Davy and then Immortal. If that's cool with the co-host, that's cool with me.
Peace to the family. I don't really have much to say. Great ideas and points that were put forth today. Shout out to the host, the co-host. I do want to say this. Joy DeGruy speaks on white ice being colder, and that's exactly what I get from this. Because a white man is coming around saying that our talking points does not mean that he is Jesus. We do not hold white people up on our shoulders here. That's something that they do in Africa. We don't do it here. As far as, the people that are supposedly of our lineage, we have to learn how to put people on goofy time. If people are, um speaking up for white men and lending their platform and their name and their likeness for a person that really has no track record, that their work is dirty on the yard. We need to learn how to put people on goofy time and just keep it pushing. I do want to piggyback on something that Sister Katie said about, one candidate being held to the fire and this white man being just given a green light to go ahead. That's a red flag. And if anyone is out here doing that, you're looking at a white man and you see Jesus, we need to know who they are. We need to put them on the jumbotron and we need to let them know that they are not on code. I don't know this Gabe dude. Again, I'm not in Chicago, but it's very simple to the family. If this man is not speaking, if he's not, because I heard Dante something earlier, if this man is not answering your questions, we will not vote for him. He does not get our vote. You have to earn our vote. We're not in the business of giving anyone votes that don't answer our questions. So if this man is not on a space for 5 to 6 hours answering the hard questions, don't vote for him. It's very simple. It's 2023. We're not back in the 60s. We're not the baby boomers. We're not none of them. We have to put in our own work and we have to do everything that we have to vet the right people. We have to vet them the way that we vet them. We're not vetting them as if this is 1960. So if you're not going to answer the hard questions, you will not receive our vote. That's it. This dude is running for alderman in Chicago. He wants our votes. He's in a predominantly black area. If he does not speak to the black public, he does not get your damn vote. It's very simple. And with that, I digress. Thank you for your time, family.
Much respect, Sage, and you made some great points on that. It's very disrespectful for this dude to come in the room and talk to us about reparations and then refuse to answer our questions.
Brother Ogun, let me ask this
Right
Okay,
one
off
let
the
me
question
top,
too, Brother
let me
Ogun.
be clear about something, Ogun.
Can I ask one
The
question, Sister
space that
Just? Let me ask one question. Did this man, because I see a tweet that Lioness said, did this man claim that he's Freedman first and no one checked
the
him?
tweet says what it says, Sage. You
And no
you read
one
that shit.
checked
It
him.
says I'm hashtag Freedman
No
first.
one checked.
And
Okay.
then Naeem said, well, you can see what Naeem said. If you're not blocked by him, he retweeted it. But to Ogun's point, just real quick, I need to be clear about something. The only time that I saw Gabe was when I saw that he was following me a couple weeks ago. From there, I believe that Freedman had a space where they were doing a book reading. I don't think that that space was a come check this candidate out. I think it was supposedly supposed to be a book reading. And then I guess Gabe showed up in the space or whatever. But if you look at the title of different spaces, it looks like a book reading, much like what's going on right now. And I don't know why he's not in here. I'm kind of sad about it. So, we have to start making sure that the people around us are worthy of our protection. Because, like I said, Foundational Black Americans came to this dude's aid in real time at the rally. And I don't know if that should be something that we didn't know. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead, Davey.
Hi, how you doing, Jesse? What's good, Lioness? What's good, Ogun? Shouts out to everybody in the space. I was gonna come up here throwing a whole bunch of ad hominem attacks, calling Naheem a bitch ass nigga. I'm not gonna do that. Um, um, so like I want to let me abstract this as much as I can. We have a Jamaican freedman protecting an Italian freedman. That's problematic. And then you have them being pushed and bolstered by a freedman who don't even consider themselves black. What the fuck is that about? I have no respect for nobody who will change their status to not motherfucking take care of their kids financially. And then be an asshole enough to document the shit. If you'll switch up your ideology and your statusship and your classification all to not protect your kids, what the fuck would you do for reparations?
I miss you, Davey.
Pause, right? Pause?
Pause, please. Pause. Thanks.
It's
Who was that?
you,
Who was that?
Immortal.
Vader? Was that you talking about you missed somebody? Who was that?
That was yeah. That was Vader.
Well, let's go to you. Go ahead, Vader.
Yeah, I posted in the Jumbotron a sample of this man's disrespect, and it speaks on its own. So I don't have to say anything about that. And I wasn't going to say anything about Naheem, but I changed my mind. Naheem, if you're here, you're listening. This is a recorded space. I'm making a prediction. You will not show up where I say I'm going to show up. I'm going to be at the Sacramento Reparations Task Force meeting in February. I'm predicting you will not be there. That's it. I land.
Okay, brother. Go ahead, Immortal.
Greetings, family. So, yeah, we're not gonna entertain this Italian guy. I think the course of action we should take is the same course of action we took with the Kamala Harris campaign. And so, if we have the wherewithal and the ability to scuttle a presidential campaign, I think it shouldn't be too difficult to scuttle this one. So, that's the doing part. Anybody
Immortal,
can.
let me cut you off though. I'm sorry. I know people hate when I do this, but Chicago voted for Uncle Lori. Like, those people are out there. So somebody had said earlier that if he just wanted to win, all he had to do was run because he's white and he'll win because it's a black area. Like, those people really are out there. So all of us being on code in here is cool. If we could take the message and tell your family or tell your friend, or I don't know, tell people who aren't online. It's a bunch of people out there like that that are making decisions, and it's a lot of them. But maybe they'll think and have conversations, constructive conversations. That's the word of the day, constructive conversations. But go ahead, Immortal.
Your point is well taken. And I realized that when Rahm Emanuel became mayor of Chicago. You think Lori Lightfoot was bad, but think back to the Rahm Emanuel days. Now, that's a whole foreign intelligence officer from his home country, the head of your whole city. So I thought that was messed up, but we can't do nothing. I know it's an uphill battle. I know it's difficult, but we can't sit around and just do nothing. So apply resistance. We will never lose against these people unless we stop fighting. It's the only way we can lose. So back to my point I was making, those are our family members in that area. We know them, call them, talk to them, start calling these aldermen, seeing what their platform is. You might have to pick one because I'd rather have a black alderman, that's a city level. I'd rather have a black alderman that don't mention reparations than to have a white one running around pretending to be for reparations. Like, keep it real. If you ain't for reparations, then don't mention it then. You black, don't mention it. They usually don't. But what you're not going to do is use reparations as a hobby horse where you're going to ride in on the reparations and take an office where you're not going to use that office for reparations. Like he already said, he don't believe in local and state level reparations. So that means he's against reparations from the purview of his office. He's anti-reparations, period. So scuttle the campaign. Do what you can. Do counter campaigns on the guy because he's disrespectful in all this. And as far as us among each other here in St. Louis, there's a strong. I grew up around a lot of these guys. There's a strong presence of. I know there may be different branches and different sects, but I'm just saying there's a strong Moorish presence here in St. Louis. A lot of L's, a lot of Bays around here. And I didn't interacted with many of them. And you know what the ones around here have never done? They've never presented a white person to me, ever, to do anything for me, ever. Especially when it comes talking about something that's the only thing they do is get what's owed up out of them, the ones around here. So I don't understand these cats with L's and Bays and Holland Moorish, but then you present the Moors around here would never present a candidate like that. Not no white one, period. I wouldn't care if he was I wouldn't care if he was Jesus Christ, the white Jesus. They still wouldn't bring him to me. So I find that suspect that people who are claiming that type of religious beliefs or scientific beliefs, the Moorish Science Temple, is prominent around here. And they just don't do that. So it's something up with that. When you see somebody with a name Bay or L and they propping up white people, that's a big ass red flag. It's waving all in your face. That means they not who they say they are, period. A lot been said tonight on this. So I guess I'm going to just land it there. Hey, if you don't want him in office, don't let him in. Use your power. Do what you can. If you fail, then you try again next time. Don't let him get a second term. Don't let him get to the next office he wants to go to, because this is just a springboard. He's going to take over that lakeside property, gentrify it. It'll turn into Little Italy. And then, then he'll go on to the mayor. No, stop it. Stop his campaign. Same thing go for Kamala Harris. Same thing go for him. Same thing we do for Joe Biden. Same thing for him. It shouldn't really be a big debate. But we got to watch people who bring people like that to us. If you're going to bring me, the only white people we can use is the ones with our words in their mouth and doing everything we tell them to do. He's doing, look, don't let nobody open up. Don't never put your money in no Freedman's Bank until they give your family back the money they stole from the last Freedman Bank. See, they're just waiting a generation thinking we're going to forget. That whole Freedmen's Bureau thing was the reconstitution of slavery. That's where we get Jim Crow. That's where we get sharecropping laws and all that, where they hold you hostage on the land and make you work still. That's where we got all that convict leasing and all that. All that came during that time of the Freedmen Bureau. And we were no better off once they started it and once they ended it. So if he's talking about, we'll put a Freedmen Bureau, what are you doing putting a Freedmen Bureau in a aldermanic ward? That doesn't even make sense. Aldermanic ward sponsoring a Freedmen's Bureau. That's more at least a state level thing, if not a federal level thing, if you're going to do it. So that part of the platform doesn't even make sense. So I'm going to land it there. I'll answer questions or I'll just land it there.
I think that a lot has been said this evening. I mean, really, we started out talking about not necessarily any one person's paperwork, but just that if you're going to be speaking for us, it needs to look a certain way, it needs to sound a certain way, and there's got to be some sort of pattern of the behavior has to match. So I don't know how many more people want to speak on the topic or the paperwork checks or anybody specific or whatever. But we can keep going for a little while. I don't want this to just turn into, people just, and another thing, and because the space is recorded and constructive conversations have a time limit. To the co-hosts, I'm not really sure who's next, but I know we got people
Yeah,
with hands up, and then
I'm trying to figure out who this Freeway dude is real quick, and then we can probably just go to whoever just came up. True, back to Sage, and then we said everything we need to say. But do you guys have anything else to share on the topic? Let's start with you, Freeway.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I just wanted to touch on it. I was listening, and a few years ago, I came across a Gabe guy. He was kind of sniffing around and running with the ADOS crowd then, and he said a few questionable things about Claude Anderson, and this was real condescending in a lot of his comments. I hadn't seen him for a while. This was with a different Twitter account that I had, and so I just saw him resurface a couple of days ago, and now you guys are talking about him. It seems like you guys never heard of him before, but he's an op. He's not for the right thing. It seems he's more opportunistic than anything else, trying to get his feet in the door on the political tip so he can, fill his own pockets probably. So that's all I had to say about it. Thank you.
Yeah, you got to watch these dudes.
Absolutely. Go ahead, okay.
Yeah, that's real talk. You just got to watch these dudes that just come out of nowhere, and then and also watch their responses to us. It is really, if you look at how Marcel responded to how we were vetting him and how we were grilling him about cash payments, specifically saying black, specifically foundational Black Americans, not nobody else. If you look at how he was responding to that, he was very graceful with us. And this white dude has got the nerve to turn red and talk about he don't want to answer no questions or put somebody up to tell us not to ask him no questions, boy. And let me tell you something, the black folks that tell us don't question these white supremacists, we just gonna start cutting you off. We're gonna keep it short with you because we don't have time to figure out why you keep pushing this white person in front of us when all we want to do is grill them. So if you're trying to jump in front of white folks and save white folks, you know what I mean? You basically threw yourself off the cliff. So that's where I stand in regards to it.
That's another really good point, Ogun, because at the end of the day, well, if you're telling, I don't know, you can't be harder on us than you are on them people. That is not how it works. Like, shout out to Marcel, because even though he's a little off with this right now, I believe that he can come around to what is real. Like, if he really is a reparationist, and Ogun, real talk, me and you have supported this guy, like straight up, because he went through the ringer, and he needs to know that matters. Like, you can't just bring somebody around because you think they're cool. No, they need to go through the ringer again. And that guy, Gabe, said he felt like he was being attacked on the internet.
And I want to know this. I want to know, do we have any Gabe supporters that have a word on Gabe? Can anybody that knows Gabe, that can vouch for Gabe, come up and just give us a last few words? Because I really want to hear from you, because I haven't heard anybody that really had anything solid. The other brother, he was giving him the benefit of the doubt, but nothing real solid and tangible that we can place our finger on as it relates to Gabe. Do we have any Gabe supporters at all? And if we do, come on up. Until then, I'm sorry, Eve, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
May I jump ahead? I'd like to speak to what Freeway said. Something Freeway said.
Go ahead.
This is I had taken a long Twitter break after getting my account clipped way back in the ADOS days, and one of the things that I noticed about ADOS is that as soon as you mention any praise or anything of Dr. Claude Anderson, you got blocked and kicked from Yvette, right? And Gabriel Pimani, he rocked heavy with that chick. So when Freeway points out that you know that some gay was speaking greasy on Dr. Claude Anderson, I believe it. Like you could not fuck with ADOS and acknowledge Dr. Claude Anderson's work back in the day. That was a no-no. You couldn't point out the fact that a lot of the work that they were claiming that they did, a lot of the work, the quote unquote work that they were putting out there, came from other people like Darity and Dr. Claude Anderson. So I just wanted to point that out.
Major
That's a
red
good
flag.
point.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to know the people who've been putting in the work. You might not necessarily agree on the amount, but they've been doing the work, and for a reason, for good reason. We're owed. People don't want us to get what's owed. That's really where we are right now. Don, I see Raheem came back up. Don Mulio, Immortal. You guys can be polite. I don't know who's first, but
Yeah, I think True. Let's go to True, and then Raheem, and then let's go back down to Don Mulio.
I'd like to say hello to everybody, and I just got on the space, so I want to make it real quick. Linus, if you don't mind, what is your Cash App? I appreciate you for everything you did for me yesterday.
Thanks, sis.
Love, respect.
Thank you.
I love
appreciate
you.
it. I love you too. I'm gonna holler at you after this. My DMs are suspended, so people was trying to DM me today. I guess maybe they'll be back up tomorrow because y'all really lit my DMs up. I didn't even know that Twitter had a DM limit of 500 a day, so I exceeded that. But thank you.
Hit me up, okay?
Yes.
All right, I'll
So
talk to
you
you later.
can't shout out your Cash App at all. You don't really want to do that.
Man, y'all know I'm shy. I don't really be soliciting. Folks who've been rocking with my content for years know that I never really did that before. But yeah, I'll privately send it to folks who ask. But I also don't accept money and gifts from any and everybody. So that's usually the way. That's really the reason why I don't want everybody walking up to me giving me stuff. Because all money ain't good money, and money is an exchange of energy. It stands for my own natural energy yield. So when your own natural energy yield is high, it manifests as a lot of money in your bank. But when it's low, that means you get to check your energy. And people circulate their energy into your bank account or into your energy through money. So I'm very, very mindful. And then my daddy, I'm a daddy's girl. So I was just raised not to just accept stuff from folks. But I really do appreciate the support. And one-on-one, I can send it out.
I don't know. I still want to know your Cash App out loud. And here's why.
Spoon,
This
hit
is
her
why.
up privately. You're putting her on the spot, and
Yeah, I
respect
know.
her
I
for
know.
discernment, because really we need to have discernment when we're having conversations like this. Like, just because it seems like a good idea, I mean, I'm not saying she can't. Nobody said. Jade just did what she wanted to do in real time, and I support her either way, and it's cool. If you want to hit her up, hit her up.
Look, see, the game she gives, she needs to be charging for it. She doesn't charge for it. So at least the family could have the opportunity to send her a little something, because I just don't see haters sending her anything. I don't see it. But okay, but I'm gonna go ahead and respect your get down.
Thank you. Yeah,
Sis, I love you for that. And just DM your Cash App right now, and let me send you something.
Thank you. And guess what? At least y'all know I'm not accepting no money from no white supremacists or suspected white supremacists. That's just me being petty right now.
And that's not petty, it's real, because really people do whatever it takes. There are people out there like that. And while I'm saying, reparations now and cut the check and no tangibles, no vote, there is a right way and there's a wrong way. I think people who are not tied to this land, like I said earlier, they have a dual allegiance, and maybe they don't mean to. But if you are not fully connected to the land, you probably don't need to be speaking for us. You can be an amplifier. You can say what we've been saying. You can push it that way, but you can't just be out here saying that you're the representative or that you vetted people. And this is, I don't know. People made some really good points about, if you don't even identify as Black, should you be speaking for Black people? And that's a real thing. I don't know.
Well, that's a no. No. If you don't identify for Black as Black, hell to no. I don't care how Black you look.
So Yeah, that's a real thing. Thank you for your thoughts. True. Can we go to, is it Don Freeway? I think it's Freeway. No, is it not Freeway? His face just jumped across the screen. So, co-host, what's the order?
I think we can go Immortal. Let's hear from our sister Yaya. She just came up, and Don Mulio.
Excellent.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for rolling me the mic, and thank you for this room. Whoa, it's needed. What a wild ride this has been. We just started 2023. Okay. The average Joe, you know, the average Joe looking into someone and trying to figure out if he would be a good tool or advocate or ally for the reparations move, and kind of messing it up a little bit. I can deal with that. But when you're a politician and you're selling yourself to represent us, um, on a local level and then also in Congress, and you're choosing wrong and getting defensive and letting things get personal, but we're talking about reparations, but you're a reparations candidate, um, that raises red flags to me, because you're fighting for a position that says, trust me, I'm going to speak for you. And then we say, okay, and we're going to support you. And then you start bringing in people and we say, hey, whoa, no, we're not cool with that. And then you get defensive and you attack. So then it goes, are you just an individual like me, or are you a politician? And when do you switch back and forth? But when you're talking about reparations, to me, and you are a politician that people have financially and physically supported, but then you bring me this white boy, but then I can't say nothing to the white boy. uh I'm glad you're not at the White House. Shit, I'm glad I'm able to see you now before I put anything else behind you to push you somewhere where you're really going to put your fingers in the air and say fuck you on my feelings, because you're saying it now, you ain't even got the vote. So yeah, I the bone is something, but the motherfucker who brought the just Eve, I'm sorry. Uh, the individual who brought the bone is way more questionable. Who brought the white boy to the party? Because now he's doing the
That's a
Dougie
good
saying nigga
question.
in the middle of the
Do
yard.
we know where he came from and who kind of like brought him? Who was the first?
Well, I'm
Who brought him?
hearing that's a good.
Marcel. That's who I saw bring him. Okay. Thank you for the mic.
Well, they said, Sister Yaya, they said that he had been around reparation spaces for years. So I mean, I guess out of ADOS. So I really want to know the real, before this situation, like who has been parading him around. They said that he's done work with Dr. Sandy Darity on reparations, and he's done all of this stuff for a couple years now, and there's people in Chicago actually do know who he is. So that's what I heard in multiple spaces as his name has come up. I heard a lot of older folks, who've been involved in reparations, who call themselves freedmen, who are very, very familiar with this guy Gabe. But I want to know the initial person, groups or organizations, to your point, that really brought him out in front of the community to say, hey, he's an ally. Hey, he can run as a quote unquote reparationist candidate.
Yeah, but the person who brought him to me was the freedman Marcel. That's who brought him to me. That's who brought him to the big space as a political contender for reparations. I don't know ADOS. I don't know them. I don't know anything, but I know that I was told, "Hey, come to this space cuz this is a good reparations candidate." And I walked in there and it was a whole white man.
Duan B, how you doing, brother? And thank you, Sister Yaya, for that. Gabe, do you know who Gabe is? Much respect to you, brother.
What's up, man? I don't know who Gabe is. I don't. You know me. I'm very rarely in these Twitter spaces these days. I don't. So I don't really know who he is. I just saw that tweet he put up and some of the stuff he been saying. That's I don't like white people being comfortable around us. And my point of view is anybody who brings a white person around us, fine. But you kind of are responsible for how they interact, and you got to be the one that check them. Kind of like if you come bring somebody to my house, you check them before I check them. So that's kind of how I move when it comes to them folks. I don't feel comfortable being around a white person that's that comfortable around us. If the fact that they're that comfortable around us, that lets me know that he has a white supremacist sort of I'm daddy kind of point of view when it comes to us, because no one with respect. You don't go around someone with respect telling them that they're running anything, or some of the stuff that he was saying about I'm a freedman and you guys don't like it. You don't go to somebody's house and say and point and jab at somebody else's, at your friend's cousins. Not if you have respect for them. So I salute Eve, Linus, Ogun for having this space, because we need more of these kind of spaces when it comes to these kind of people and that have these kind of behaviors, because we used to just let white people and other people go unchecked because somebody we cool with brought them around. Me personally, I haven't seen Marcel do anything to make me support him any less, as far as like his candidacy or whatever, because I'm on that particular topic. About reparations, as long as he stands 10 toes down towards reparations, cool with me or whatever. Because I don't trust any politician, good or bad, whether they're on my side or not. Politicians are politicians, and it's not about my trust in them. It's about them, delivering what they say they're going to deliver. And after that, we take it how we take it. I'm not trying to have no friends when it comes to this, just business. But the whole where this conversation we have right now is necessary, because these people can't feel comfortable, because if we let this dude feel comfortable in these spaces talking like this, then what did I say about the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one? So I'm just glad to see cats, who are more intimately involved with it, checking this behavior at the door.
Much respect, Juan, and that's kind of the point. We have to make sure that we are applying appropriate consequences to these people who are very comfortable around us. Like, it's just not right. Salute to the room and everybody who's come through and shared their thoughts and opinions and facts, because this is a constructive conversation that has been evidence-based. It's not just our opinions out here. There's a whole pattern that you can pay attention to, and information you can go check out, elders that you can check out their work and see how they've contributed to where we are today in 2023. Don Emilio, did you go again, or is it Immortal?
It's on Brother Immortal.
Oh, right on, fam. Constructive. I keep hearing that word. And so I know that there may be many types of people in here listening. And some people might ask, well, where is all this coming from? You just hate white people. No, we don't hate white people. We don't love white people. You could say we much apathetic towards them. We really just don't want to be bothered. But now we're talking about paperwork check and being constructive and codified. See, when me personally, when I say that's off code, that means there's a prescribed course of action in this situation and you didn't do it. That's off code to me. So how do you paperwork check? All these white people, according to logic, all their paperwork is dirty as a group. They classify themselves as white, and they constructed a system of white supremacy. So just by that fact, and the ones who claim they're against it are ineffective at best. So they got to hold that L. That's an L for them. It's going to be. It is in many ways, but let me keep going so I can end it quickly. So now that we realize that you got to suspect that any white person is going to be a white supremacist. We have to suspect they're going to be a white supremacist. This is Neely Fuller, teachings. You suspect that all of them are going to be a white supremacist. Any of them could be a white supremacist, but all of them aren't. So you just suspect. You're supposed to be suspicious. So now, just say you a black person, especially I'm speaking specifically to my lineage. If you are willing to say that a white person is not a white supremacist, That's your guaranteed victim's guaranteed qualification. You a victim of white supremacy. If you think he ain't no white supremacist, that's your right to think that. But the codes say that that's on you. That means that when you bring him to me, I'm suspicious. I'm still thinking he a white supremacist, and what he did to prove to you that he wasn't, is gonna be different for me. So that's codified. So just because you got cool with him, don't them qualifications that he made so I still suspect in this case what we talking about, I still suspect he a white supremacist. And he confirms my suspicions with his behavior. So that's why we're on white folks like this, because somebody out there is a white supremacist. White folks walking around talking about ain't nobody doing nothing to us, but if somebody's a white supremacist, I don't know which one it is. I don't have a master list. I don't know who's the thief. Want to steal something out of my car? That's why I lock it every time. Y'all get the gist. Just because a lot of y'all know this already, but some of these people in here don't. That's why I said it, and I'll land it.
And they jump out of nowhere to try to talk for us. Remember who Jane Elliott? Jane Elliott talks all this good talk about racism and this and that, all the way up into reparations, and then it goes left. So, we got to remember these people. Tim Wise. Didn't Tim Wise say something disparaging about our sister, Frances Cress Welsing, our beloved Queen Mother sister? Didn't he say something crazy about her? So, but his claim to fame is to know about racism between white and black people and all this and that. All the way up until it's time to give our grandmasters, their roses. And then you want to shit on them? Nah. So we definitely got to double, triple, quadruply vet these white people that try to come in our circles talking about anything about reparations at all. And then again, like the sister was saying, man, we got to look at whoever bringing them to us sideways too. Now, this is nothing to Marcel, because again, Marcel still gets my full support. By the way, I've been donating, a certain amount every month to Marcel's campaign. So, and that's not going to stop. So that just is what it is. So, but I still don't trust this white boy. I think we should continue to vet him. Anybody that's trying to stop us from asking him questions, the hard questions about what he's going to do for us specifically, we need to, get them out the paint, move them out the way, and make sure we ask the questions, or or break the white dude. And that's just what it is.
I'm glad you brought it back around. I'm gonna let you go, Dwan, in a second. But to the point about Marcel, we said this earlier. Marcel, you got put through the ringer. The same thing would need to happen for this person that you're saying is cool. You can't just, people aren't just cool because we know you. What have you done? Well, you have to lead with that. This guy kind of tried to lead with his black family, which to me is a red flag on its own. So, why don't you, I don't know. It's like race trading. He's a traitor. I don't know. I just feel like there's something to be gained, and it's not for us. So we can go back to Dewan, and then to True, and then to the new speaker, Underground.
I think that we're doing the right thing, because look at white supremacy. Just because you're cool with one white boy, don't mean you're cool with all the white boys. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. Just because, and that's how I'm glad we're being right now. And to Marcel, if you listen to the playback, and not just to Marcel, to any black person out there, it's like those days where you can just validate the white boy and he'd be cool with everybody. That's in the '90s. You go back to Dr. Dre and Eminem the last time that's gonna happen. Even if you say the best bet you have, if you have a white person that you're down with, because people gonna be down with white folks, I get it. The best bet you have is to say, hey, this person on this particular level that we have a relationship, they cool, and they've been cool in that particular scenario, and that's where I landed. You dig what I'm saying? Because if you going around saying that just because they cool with me over here, that means they're cool all over the place, and they should be cool with y'all too. No. If black people ain't getting free passes, like you said, Eve, Marcel didn't get a free pass. Black politicians aren't getting free passes anymore. So that goes triple for any white person that wants to be in our circles. At the end of the day, if you're down with us, your deeds will show. That's how I look at it. I don't care about your black family. At the end of the day, I'm from the point of view of people lead with their best foot. So if you've really done some really awesome things for black folks out there, you'd have something more to lead with than your black family. We've been getting led with the whole let's have that old episode of Martin when that racist cop, when Martin was against a racist cop, and then the racist cop showed his black wife in the courtroom. And back in the 90s, that was funny as hell. We really thought that meant something. And then, so leading with your black family, that's a red flag. So when it comes to them folks, let their deeds show. And if their deeds show that they down with black folks, they got whoopty wham, that much money, and they did this, and they when we talk about John Brown, his family is secondary to the deeds that he did. His raid on Harper's Ferry. The fact that he took his family was secondary. It was his deeds. And we haven't had a white boy that had that level of deeds since John Brown. That's what, 170 some odd goddamn years ago. So we need to keep being skeptical. And any white person that's listening to this, because it's always a white boy listening, if you're going to be down, your deeds will show. And your family, your wife, your little girlfriend, the fact that you can quote every Tribe Called Quest line, that's not going to matter. And to any black person that want to validate a white boy, no, say why you're cool with them, explain cool, that's all good. But they still going to go through the same process, a more rigorous process than we put your black ass through.
Thank you. I mean, you should be honored to be vetted. It means that we're taking the time to figure out if you are the truth. I don't know. To me, it just seems like we got to put appropriate lenses on these things that we're doing in real time. Maybe people will respect it more if they knew the sacrifices they were making to get us to where we are right now. Peace, Racer Bo. But I think you're after Underground.
Hey, peace, family. Peace, Sister Just Eve. This brother Blue Pack, Sankofa. Yeah. Peace, Lioness. I want to say this about Brother Marcel because a very light hand has been taken with Brother Marcel. And I'm going to speak as somebody who has supported that brother from the beginning. Hold on. Who that is?
I'm so sorry. Hey, I heard your voice. I just thought you were outside.
All right, I got you.
You got a
You
lot of
good.
background
Thank you.
noise. What's
Thank you.
going on?
Hey, that's the Amazon man. My bad, y'all. The Amazon man rolled up on me.
I
They
thought we
like,
was gonna
hey,
have to roll up over there. I'm like, you all right, brother?
hey, yeah, no, I'm good. I just saw a shadow. I'm like, who the fuck that is, man? Coming up here, rolling up on the porch like this. All right, my bad. I ain't expect that. But what what I was gonna say about Brother Marcel is he's doubling down on this cracker. He has doubled down. Brothers, I myself and plenty of people have thrown spaces and have thrown out the olive branch to Brother Marcel and said, come in here and speak for yourself. He decided to throw his own space and tell his own story. And he decided to invent Black American policy for this cracker. All right. So there has to be a hard line drawn. And people have to atone for their crimes. Simple as that. And if you don't want to atone for your crimes and you want to double down on it, man, okay, then take your lot. Pick your lot. Honestly.
Well, look, we don't want to get on here disparaging Brother Marcel. Can
Hey, I
you
ain't
go on mute?
disparaging nobody. I'm speaking facts, my brother.
Go on
Ogun
mute real quick.
Spirit. Whoa. No, what I'm saying is don't put.
Just real quick, brother. I just want to say, because you got a lot of background noise too. So I just want to say that I understand exactly what you're saying as it relates to what was happening with the white dude and Marcel. But we always want to make sure that we circle back around.
Respectfully, my brother. Nobody disparaged Marcel. Okay. You talking to somebody who has been stomping with Marcel or for Marcel, I'll say, not with. Okay, who has put their money forth Marcel. Nobody's disparaging him. I'm speaking facts. It's facts and truth, my brother. Okay? I'm not lying on that, brother. None of that. It is what it is.
Okay, well, he's you know what I mean?
And
Usually
as far as my
Marcel,
background noise, brother, that's irrelevant right now. The Amazon man.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute you, brother, because you act like you can't hear when I'm talking. I'm gonna let you talk and handle your business, brother. But listen, the way we're gonna run this is we got to get to the point pretty quick, and you got a lot of background noise. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you go again. You got 30 seconds.
Okay, do I have background noise right now? Anybody? Put a heart up if I do.
What you hear, Sister Jessie?
It's
Yeah,
just like
everybody
a dead
hears
sound.
background noise,
I
sir.
don't. Yeah, you do
You
have
sound like
some
you
background
hitchhiking on the
noise going
highway,
on.
brother.
All right, I tell you what, I got the door open. I'm in Florida. It's windy. So how about now? We good?
Brother, it
Honestly, I
sound
could
like
I
you
could
either in
hear
the
you.
gym
All right, all
or
right,
at a
all right, all right.
grocery
Forget it
store
then. Forget it
shopping.
then. Because
Doing
we're
one or
getting
the other.
distracted. We're getting distracted by the background noise, and I know everybody obviously can hear me because I keep talking. Hey, calm down. My nephew's in the back. All right. So what I said about Brother Marcel was not a disparaging remark. I spoke facts. Simple as that. He's doubling down on it, and this is an integrity issue. This is an atonement issue. This is an accountability issue. So I don't care what nobody got to say. No Ogun spirit or Shango spirit or nothing else. It's the truth, and I stand on it. I land my plane.
All right, brother, you said what you said. Let's go ahead and go to Racer, then Don Mulio, then True.
Yeah, peace to everybody in the room. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to everybody. You know, shouts out to the haters too. I love y'all any goddamn way. You know, let's just get to business. As far as this Gabe dude, he, you know, he already draws a red flag with me. You know, being that, you know, he's on Twitter, you know, he's following people, you know, certain people who are definitely part of the grassroots and putting in a lot of work. And yet we are holding these prominent spaces, you know, we are organizing rallies, but yet this dude is just eavesdropping. So that's the red flag with me with that. Not only that, I think it's a certain part about not necessarily Marcel basically giving him a cosign, but I think his attraction to Marcel as far as his white sensibilities. You know, even though brother Marcel is stopping, and let's just be clear, he has my full support as we speak right now, and future support until he actually shows me otherwise off code behavior. But Marcel is, due to his sexual lifestyle, I believe Gabe is trying to cozy up to him because he believes that's a compromise. And I think that is just something that we have to pay attention to, because when in this reparations thing, we have to look at it all. And this is not a slight at Marcel, and it's not a disrespect to Marcel or disrespect to anybody who lives that lifestyle. But I think that's just something that we have to note and pay attention to. And I'll land on that.
Yeah, I'm not disparaging Marcel. I think that if Marcel was the candidate that we were talking about who wants actual votes right now, I think that he would be held to a standard that we've already told him. Like, he knows the stakes. You can't just let somebody be cool with us because you're cool with them. I don't care. I don't care. They get to go through the same, if not more, because of who they are. Like, people have already said the Italian and Black connection, misconnection, non-connection, racism, and all of that stuff. So go ahead, Don.
Hey, look, thank you again for letting me speak. Listen, man, this is very, very simple for me. This isn't about emotions. This is just about protecting our lineage. All right. If any one of us in here would have made that move, we would be subject to criticism, and we would be subject to getting a spanking from the family, so to speak. I'm looking at our brother Dion in the space. I personally witnessed this man open up a space about football, and six niggas came into the space and ran him down about a mixtape. All right. So let's stop acting like this is a space that's ganging up on Brother Marcel. He got a lot of support in his room. A lot of people still rock with him. Some people don't, and it's justified. You understand what I'm saying? But let's not try to make it seem like he's Neo and this is Matrix Reloaded and the fucking Agent Smith is just jumping this man. That's not what's going on here. We really running down on this cracker. But also what we're saying is that we were introduced to this cracker by our brother Marcel. And me personally, I believe that there's another player behind the scenes. I can't quite prove because I don't have receipts, but I definitely think that somebody else really, really put this play together. And if you know how to read between the lines, you know exactly who I'm talking about. But like I said, I don't have the receipts to prove it, so I'm not gonna say his name on this space. But I definitely believe that somebody got a battery put in their back, and they orchestrated this play, and they used Marcel, you know what I'm saying, to put this dude out. Now that's not alleviating brother Marcel of this deed, because like I said, the family got legitimate questions, they definitely have to answer for that. So this ain't about nobody jumping on Marcel. Anytime the family has a grievance, it has to be honored, and you have to come before the family and explain yourself. Now, if we in a situation where you feel like you don't have to come before the family and explain yourself and condemn this cracker, then now we know where we stand with you. This ain't about his sexual preference. I don't care about none of that stuff. You understand what I'm saying? I don't care how tall he is. We know bro like to wear them big ass sombrero hats. It is what it is. I don't care about none of that stuff. I care about the fact that we had a white boy introduced to us. That's red flag number 1 and 2. And then on top of that, this white boy has been emboldened by people like a Naheem and other freedmen to disrespect a particular sector of the Black American family. That's a no. I don't care how nobody feels about it. I still listen. If you want to support Marcel, nobody telling you to turn off your donations to him. Nobody saying that when the brother gets ready to run again, don't campaign for him. What we're saying is that our lineage is more important than any candidate that we have. I don't give a damn who they is. And if you put our people in a position like this, then you have to come before the family and explain yourself, apologize. And like I said, the Freedman family need to do a space, and they need to make that white boy apologize for disrespecting us. And that's why I stand that on that. This ain't got nothing to do with hate. This ain't got nothing to do with nobody ganging up on Brother Marcel. This is about the fact that our lineage was exposed to a devil, one of Yaku's baby kids.
We have valid questions, and people should have valid questions. And I want to go to Brother Elevation. I want to hear what Brother Elevation has to say on that. But great questions, great questions.
Okay, number one, I want to say I've never used the term pretendian whatsoever. I know for a fact that we have Aboriginal lineage, even in my own family. Now, on top of that, I said about 6 to 12 months ago that Freedman was a poison term because it means white and black. A lot of folks thought I was reaching on being a hater, blase blah. What's the general consensus now? Is Freedman okay? We still gonna be some Freedmen? That's all I want to ask. I'm done.
To your point,
Well,
my brother. Oh, sister, I'm sorry.
no, you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Just really quickly, shout out to you, brother.
Turned into a
Elevation
joke
Allah.
space, sis. I'm sorry. This turned into a joke space.
Oh,
The minute y'all
I
let
was.
elevation, you might as well let.
I'm not sure what happened, brother. Underground. I'm gonna let you speak right quick. I just wanted to bring to your attention to his point. One of the things that I addressed Gabe on was a tweet that he did. I just put it in the jumbotron. That's why I'm coming up here. Gabe said the indigenous Black advocates have found me and they are mad. That's one of the tweets that I confronted him on. Then the other one was about there's no such thing as state level reparations. But I personally took offense to the indigenous Black advocates have found me and they are mad, right? We are owed a debt, right, for reparations. And so clearly this is a European who's been in our spaces. And I think that he uses particular language, indigenous Black advocates, right? You're talking about our whole ethnic group, our lineage, and parts of our indigenous parts of our lineage, as if, it's separate and apart, of being Black. Those of us whose ancestors were enslaved in the killing fields of American slavery. So I was just bringing that up, in relation to the point that Elevation Allah had made, because I have heard people on this app, Naheem in particular, using the term pretendians, which to me, personally and directly, is a racial slur. So I'm going to land on that. I'm not sure where you were going with that, why you wanted to
Well, no,
interject.
I'm just saying, I'm talking about integrity, sis. I'm sorry. I'm talking about integrity. If we're going to have integrity, then let's have integrity all around. If we're talking about the white boy, then let's talk about who brought us the white boy. It was Marcel. If we're going to kick Sir Major out to space, then goddamn it, let's talk about Elevation Allah. We're dealing with ops. We're dealing with agents. We're dealing with enemies. We're dealing with devils. We're dealing with demons.
So
No
you
one
want to kick me
kicked
out of
Sir
space
Major
because of
out the
what?
space.
Wait a minute. Nobody kicked nobody. Nobody kicked.
Nobody's been kicked out of the space at all.
What are you
Not
talking
tonight.
about?
brother.
Either way,
Brother Blue.
even if you didn't kick him out the space, he was ran out the space because he saw we wasn't buying his bullshit. Okay, that's what I'm saying. This is an integrity issue, and if you're gonna have a conversation about integrity, then why are people like Elevation
How is
Allah?
that relevant? How is that relevant, sir?
Exactly, dude. Get on topic. You go off the topic one more time and you gone. That's just it.
Zesty.
I don't know who said zesty, but that was really unnecessary. Brother Sankofa, let's hit me up later because I want more clarity in terms of what you're saying. I'm not defending or taking. I mean, if there's something I don't know about that's going on, then that's one thing. But based off of what the brother said about Freedman being a problematic term and the fact that he's never used the word pretendian, I responded to that because I do think that the word pretendian is a racial slur. Now, if you're saying that the brother Elevation Allah has actually used the word pretendian and engaged in that racial slur, then that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not sure if this is the space for that, but I do want to I just wanted to stand on the fact that I have indigenous ancestors, and anyone using that term pretendian, whether it's coming from a black person of our lineage, so to speak, or if it's coming from a European who clearly, if you look at the Jumbotron, has tweeted the indigenous black advocates. What? We talking about a whole ethnic group. So that's all I wanted to say. I just want us to make sure we keep
Speak
the
on it now.
focus. We wanted to keep the focus on the European. What did you say, Elevation?
Yeah, let him speak on it now. Is that what you're referring to? I said the word pretendian.
Again, I don't know if this is what Sister Eve wants for her space. I'm not trying to hijack her space or derail the space. And this is the thing. If we keep talking about the code and what Mr. Fuller says, he says you get black people in a room long enough, and we supposed to be trying to solve the problem of racism and white supremacy, we eventually start arguing with each other. So I also want to be mindful of that. In order for this to be a constructive conversation, we do want to keep the energy on the problem at hand. That doesn't mean that the person or the people who brought the European to us shouldn't be held accountable or anything. But the only thing I'm interested in doing right now is keeping all of the smoke, more fire and smoke on the European and the interloper, right, and dealing with my brother and dealing with my sister in different ways, because there's nothing that I have to say or would say publicly about Brother Marcel that I haven't said to him directly or wouldn't say to him directly, right? And I hope that if we start to use that sort of practice instead of jumping into spaces, ego gets involved, we're going back and forth, it becomes non-constructive, and we're taking our eye and our focus off the ball of solving the problem of racism. That's the only thing that I'm saying, right? Because I've had direct conversations and DMs with Brother Marcel, and I actually spoke to him directly, publicly as well. And if I have additional feedback, I'm going to say it to him. If I have something to say to my brother Sonny, I'm going to reach out to Sonny or Sage or Just Eve or Immortal or Don or whoever. So that's all I'm saying. I don't want this to get derailed, right? Because again, and I'm going to say this, and a lot of people, my brothers, y'all not going to like it, but this is 2023. And the sisters, we need y'all to lead in a different way that doesn't involve a lot of back and forth with male ego and that kind of thing, because we're looking to y'all for leadership, right? So I'm just going to say that out of love and grace, and hopefully we can sit on that and get back on topic about this European.
I don't think that I could have said that better myself. I appreciate you being here, Lioness. And like I said earlier, the letter of the day is C, for constructive conversation. And constructive conversations have a time limit. They really do. You can't just sit on the internet all night. I personally can't sit on the internet all night. I have a bunch of beautiful, melanated, foundational, native Black American babies upstairs that need to eat. And for what it's worth, the European, Gabe, knows that he's not safe around us specifically because he blocked me for telling him he couldn't cosplay as us. I take personal offense to a person who says that they are something that they're not. He said, I'm hashtag Freedman First. He didn't say, I support Freedman First. He said, I'm Freedman First. And that's just not cool. I don't let the Jamaicans do that. I'm not going to let Gabe do it. And you shouldn't either. So if you want to speak, put your hand up, because I'm going to start putting people down, because this conversation does need to wrap itself up. People can listen to the playback. It's a lot that's been said tonight. And sometimes that's where we need to go. Like Jade said, y'all need to do and stop talking. Okay, I'm done.
Just Eve, can I talk? 'Cause I had my hand up for a minute. I don't know if y'all can see it.
Go ahead, sis.
Okay. I want to just piggyback on what Mr. Dewan B said. Mr. Dewan B, yesterday I walked into a room and, the white dude was there, whatever the case may be. But before anything had happened, before I even came into the space, I was having a conversation with my mother. And I grew up around like a lot of Italians. So me and my mommy, we was talking and reminded me of what she was repeating that my grandmother said. And they always told me, Shantae, all white people not bad. But by me growing up around so certain many white people, yeah, I agree. All white people are not bad. But the thing about it is that one might be good, but once they get with their little group and it's a group of them, they'll change on your ass. So your little white friend that you got, that's just my opinion, 'cause that's what I grew up with. Like I was coming out of the shit that my grandmother went through. They had to trust people. That my mother went through it, and my grandfather went through it. But I had to backlash of what the fuck they was going through. Yeah, all of them not bad, but when the motherfuckers get into one damn group, they'll turn on your ass quick, and then come back outside and play with you like ain't nothing just fucking happened. So you do got to be careful with things like that. And that's what I always, teach my kids with being mindful. Stay alert. Don't let nobody fucking sleepwalk you. And pardon my language. I'm a little cursing child. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah, and also that little dude, Friedman, something, something. I don't know what his name is, Friedman. I think he probably half Jamaican or something like that. And he just jumping out there trying to protect that little white man. I don't know what that was about. I ain't get it. But whatever.
He was protecting his white freedman brother.
Thanks, sis. Brother Ogun, do you know who's next?
Yeah, I think. What is it? Show. Show with free game. We'll go to you next.
Yes, what's up, family? Can you hear me?
I think you have background noise, brother.
Got a gang of background. I don't know what that is.
My bad. Ooh, can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's up? I'm at the gym. My bad. I'm from the lineage, and I live in Chicago. So, I want to start with master teacher, Dr. Claude Anderson. He always talks about how he had to make a deal with the racist Strom Thurmond to give him some land in order to get some black judges. And he always talk about politics being quid pro quo. So I don't know, dude. I just heard about him. But I know, it's probably going to be a play. But the question is what the Chicago, lineage going to get out of his play. You know what I'm saying? The chances of him winning is real slim. I checked and saw the people he run up against. He got some people he run up against that's kind of linked in with the University of Chicago. If y'all don't know, University of Chicago is big money. That's how Obama got a lot of traction he got from that area. Michelle worked at University of Chicago, so they really galvanized a lot of money and gave him a big push. I actually know one of the cats who actually running against him. I watched the cat come up. He off 88th and Constance from anybody, from Chicago on the line. So the dude really got a slim chance of winning. My focus on if he gonna get out at least some messaging, because I ain't heard nobody in Chicago, no politicians, talk about, the lineage and getting people from the lineage resources. If he gonna get the message out, then, I'm not gonna get in the way. I'm not gonna be wearing no t-shirt. I'm not gonna be getting no placards, because I don't know too much about this dude, but I'm at least not gonna get in the way. And that's what I'm gonna ask for the other people who share my lineage, who's not in the Chicagoland area. You know what I'm saying? If you guys don't want to support him, wears t-shirts, send him some money, I respect that 110%. But I'm gonna ask you guys to kind of fall back, not get in the way, because he's pretty much the only cat that's talking about, doing something for the lineage. And even if he doesn't win, kind of like what we did with Marcel, the messaging needs to get out there. We need more, messaging. So even if he's just using us to get a little traction, and we're gonna get a little bit more messaging, you know what? I'm gonna fall back and let that play out. And with that, I'll land my plane. Peace to the family.
To his point, Chicago natives do have the first say on what goes on there. So if anybody else is from Chicago that says anything different, that's just what it is. I mean, is he speaking for Chicago? Does the rest of Chicago support this dude?
Hey, mind if I step in? This A Boogie. I'm from Chicago as well. I've known Gabe as far as being in the reparations movement for a while. Like when I first started getting back on Twitter, like he gave me a follow like a long time ago, right? So I did kind of find it odd that he was never in the spaces when we was talking about reparations, but like the brother said before, I know a lot of people in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Like I discussed this before, but I know people in offices and all that or whatever. But he's the only one that's talking about reparations. When I went out there for the stomp that we had down there, you know what I'm saying? Like ain't nobody, you know what I'm saying, in Chicago talking about reparations. You know what I'm saying? They look at me like I'm crazy, right? So that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like all this other stuff, like I agree with what y'all saying. Like people do have to be, you know what I'm saying, vetted and make sure it's cool. But I do know him like for speaking up for reparations, but as far as him being like in the movement, like he ain't never been in no rooms or nothing like that. But as as I said before, ain't nobody else in Chicago talking about reparations. So they got a task force. Like I tried to reach out, but I ain't got no traction on that end. We do got people out there like Mark Carter. I'm in contact with him. Yeah, but as far as like politicians, ain't nobody really stomping for reparations. Like I've been on Jamal Green. He tweeted a while some years ago that he was supporting reparations. Like he ain't been interacting with me on none of my social comments or nothing. So as far as Chicago, ain't nobody stomping for reparations. So that's where it is in Chicago. And you know Chicago is a powerhouse, so we got to get that right. So if ain't nobody really speaking for it, then like who are we and people outside of Chicago to get in the way of that? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Like it's a tough town. Like he said, the dude. Like I looked into who he's running against, and yeah, he ain't. You know what I'm saying? University of Chicago is crazy. You know what I'm saying? We really got to get in there. You know what I'm saying? You really got to do some groundwork in Chicago. Ain't no coming from the left field, and we on Twitter, and we gonna thinking something gonna shake. It's not gonna shake. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get in them streets for real, and if you're gonna be in them streets for real, you better be carrying too, cause it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, that's is what it is. Like he a white dude. I ain't grew up around no white people. You know what I'm saying? I was raised around freedmen. You know what I'm saying? I'm from 77 St. Lawrence, Robert Taylor Homes, Brittany Green projects, and all that. But you know what I'm saying? Like it just is what it is. Like if he's all we got, then that's just what we got. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna stand in his way.
If he's presenting tangibles, I don't stand in nobody's way that's presenting tangibles if he's presenting you guys, tangibles. Next in line, we got Sonny. Let's go to
Let me,
Racer.
brother Osborne Spirit. I want to.
Go ahead.
I agree with that. Right, like folks who are in Chicago, they get to pick their own candidates. If he's presenting tangibles, I guess that's significant. But you can't expect me to believe that you're actually going to deliver on said tangibles when you're engaging in anti-Black racism in your tweets on the app, instigating identity politics within our lineage, the very same demographic that you claim that you want to serve. So that's my issue, because my issue, I'm looking at it from a counter racist and compensatory logic perspective. So policy sounds great, right? And I'm not saying that I'm just saying that I wouldn't trust him to speak for me. He's instigating, he said the indigenous Black advocates. Who the hell are the indigenous Black advocates? We are a lineage which comprises also of indigenous people. So it's just disrespect all around. So I just needed to name that. That's my issue with him, and that's the issue I told him to his face, and that's the issue I'll continue to have with him. But yeah, that's it.
Valid questions and valid issues, because I still don't support him. But if people in Chicago, they feel like he's the right guy, let the people of Chicago speak. Let's see. I don't, I only heard from two people, so that's just a little bit, just dropping the bucket. But until we hear more people from the people of Chicago, let's, hey, that's their city. Well, we can fall back if that's what they want. What do you think, Sonny? And then we'll go to Racer, and then we'll go back to Black Native, and then Mark.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, now I agree with you too, Ogun. I'm the same way. Listen, I'm not going to get in the way of people who live there and they on the ground and they feel like that's the right man for the job for them. I don't live there every day. I don't interact with the community on a day-to-day basis. So if they feel like that's the right man for them, then that's cool. I will say this though. This is a house with many rooms. So, I get it. It's a lot of different beliefs and ideologies in here. But yeah, this is a house with many rooms, and you got to go through all of them and get vetted through all of them. It's not one room that you just go through and you get checked off and you good money. You got to go through all of them, and you got to go through certain protocol, and you got to get vetted thoroughly. Until everybody in the family say that you good, then you not good. And we saying that he not good. So, but I definitely will, fall back and concur to the Chicago family.
Hey, yo, look, I seen them tweets too, like, and I just went past them. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody from Chicago kind of know, like, yeah, we do got indigenous roots. Like, we got that Arkansas, Mississippi, like, so you know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy. I ain't the smartest. I'm just a project baby. You feel me?
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? At the same time, I do recognize that. You know what I'm saying? Look, I know my history. You know, my great grandma was Native, you know what I'm saying, half Native, Irish, and all that bullshit back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So I got my paperwork, but you know what I'm saying. I know what that hair look like. You feel me? I know what that hair feel like, and the natives start falling off in my grandma, so I know, you know what I'm saying, where it is. But yeah, I agree with what y'all saying though. He do got to go through the fire. You feel me?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like I said, and I mean, all right, I'm A-Boogie. You already know. I mean, I know we done been talking for like a year straight on this app, so I think I know. I could kind of trust what you're saying, but yeah, he got to go through the fire. Marcel went through the fire. This nigga Dion finding his way to try to fight about the fire still with certain people. Certain people he out of the fire with. Tamara Shealy Johnson, she done went through the fire. William Somerville, he done went through the fire. A lot of different people I seen went through the fire. I forget the one sister we had running down there in Louisiana. I think she was running for president or something like that. She done went through the fire. And when these candidates, we have Black reparation candidates that come through Twitter Spaces, it's just the energy is different. It's niggas. Niggas be on their ass. Niggas be yelling when I go into the Twitter Spaces. Niggas is putting them through the ringer. And then when it come to the white boy, like I said, bro, like when I was in Prime Space, like I'm seeing him, he cussing out Black people in front of the white boy. Where they do that at? You know what I'm saying? Like. It's people in this space that I do not get along with. I may not see the eye to eye with. They may get on my damn nerves, but it ain't one person in this space that I'm going to flip for a white boy over. That's on my son. That's on my grandmother.
Excuse me, brother Sonny, would you flip for any Black person in this space for Becky?
Hell nah.
Because you said white boy.
Hell nah.
Right.
And I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I wouldn't even. I go with a black. I'll go with a Black immigrant or somebody outside of the lineage before I go with the white boy. That's just me though. You know what I'm saying? So if that's not how you rocking, then that's cool too. But yeah, bro. Like, and just the history of, like I said, of Blacks and Italians for people. Are y'all niggas not watching Godfather of Harlem? Do y'all not know history? You know what I'm saying? Like Black people and Italian people, they do not get along at all. It's been ferocious. It's been violent. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, bro, do some homework on Bumpy Johnson or something like that.
So you mean the Chicago government that's been in there. Yeah, Italians and shit like that. Yeah,
Oh
we
man,
already
we
know.
ain't talk about we don't talk about the Italians in Chicago. I mean, Chicago history with the Italians. I mean, hey Boogie, you already that's got that's crazy. I mean, we don't listen. Yeah, I'm just saying. We just got to put things in a certain context. I would rather, and a lot of people they don't. People wake up at different points and times in their life. So I get it. It's black people out there that's running. I mean, shit. Maybe they just don't. I mean, they need to be woken up. Do they need to be brought into spaces to get the talking points of the grassroots? Certain people, we can't just write people off because they not in the conscious community and they don't got a whole bunch of Dr. Amos Wilson books on their shelf and they don't know Dr. Nali. Like people wake up at different points. Certain people are exposed to certain things in their life at certain periods of in certain periods of their life. So bring them in. Let them know that a lot of people don't know reparations. Just period. You don't even got to be a political candidate. It's niggas at the gas station, niggas at the grocery store. People do not know. Listen, look what's going on in California at the reparations task force meetings. They listen. We having conversations with people at these task force meetings. There's only 10 people there, 12 people there. It should be a line around blocks on blocks on blocks of people waiting to get on a microphone out there in California to speak and to say something about reparations. It ain't no billboard signs. It ain't no flyers. It ain't nothing under your car window. It ain't nothing. This California shit is a huge secret about reparations. And if you're not on Twitter Spaces or connected to certain people, then you just not in the loop. I got people out there in California on the ground, you know what I'm saying, family, they do not know that this is going on. And another thing too, before I land my plane, the Freemen, they're gonna have to hold a space and call out the disrespect to people of black, indigenous shit because it's not gonna mix. Because and people are starting to use FBA and Freemen interchangeable. And I'm on the FBA website right now. It's the first thing that it says, the 3 stars represents the 3 groups who make up the ethnic group that will become foundational black Americans. The first motherfucking people that they speak about is black Aboriginal people of North America. That's a fact. So if you running around saying pretending and you trying to make FBA and Freeman interchangeable and you can use them both at the same time, but at the same time, Freeman is running around making fun of people who identify with their indigenous lineage and heritage, and ain't nobody calling it out. It's been several spaces. It's not just Naheem. It's a plethora of Freeman people who be shitting on people who recognize their indigenous lineage. If you black American, I don't know how that happened because like A Boogie just said, nigga, everybody done heard the same Indian story. Everybody, it's been jokes on Martin and living single. Everybody know that if you black American for real, you got listen, and it's never been looked down on, and it was never like a scar or some shit where you didn't want to talk about it. This is our roots, this is our lineage. We from the soil, we've been here for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Update your knowledge and your information and your history and your intellect, because that's a no fly. That shit not gonna work at all. So I'm gonna land my mic right there though. Peace to the family.
Much respect.
Hey, can I say something real quick?
We'll go to Racer Bo first, and then we'll go to ODB, then Mark, then no. We're gonna go to Racer Bo, then Black Native, and then ODB, and then Mark, and then Show. We'll keep it at 1 minute. We'll just go around one more time.
Oh,
Let's keep
brother
it at
Ozone,
60 seconds.
I think
Okay,
Mark
go
was
ahead.
before. He was before the sister, Black Native. By the way, he's been up here for a minute.
Okay, let's go to Mark first, real quick. Mark, if you can keep it at just 1 or 2 minutes, that'd be great. We ain't gonna stop you if you're cooking, but let's try to keep it, and then just go ahead and go to the next person.
Actually, before I unmute everybody, I'm not going to be active in this space in the next 10 minutes. So if you choose to be here on the internet with me, you will be listening to the New Black Media's broadcast tonight, because that's what I'm just going to mute everybody and you're just going to listen to that in the background because I got shit to do. I've already said that. Constructive conversations have a time limit. And while I think that everybody has things to say, good things to say, we're being repetitive and not in a good way, because the information's already been out there. Salute to Sunny, who brought it back to the website, which was brought up earlier tonight. If you want to know why we're saying certain people shouldn't speak for us, It's because we've given you evidence that there's already information out there. I hit the record on purpose tonight to make sure that if you want, you can go back and listen to it. Like, this is not for me, this is for us. We need to do better. Chicago needs to know that this is what's going on. And yeah, maybe you pick another Uncle Lori for the alderman situation, but at least it's not that guy, because that guy is not on your side, not even a little bit. Like, Uncle Lori probably could get on the right side because she's got us in her. That guy is not. That's Gabe is not of us. He's not us. And he's not going to do anything for us. So you can continue to be up here in the next 9 minutes. If y'all haven't gotten off what you're going to get off, I'm going to mute everybody again. And New Black Media is going to be playing in the background until it's over. And then if you still want to talk, that's a problem, because really they go for like 2 hours or more. And if you're just going to wait up here for 3 hours to speak on something that we've already been super thorough about, you might need to look at the character quality of the person that's listening to the information and maybe do something. That's how I feel. That's my opinion, but it is my space. So whoever Ogun said is going to go next, you can go next.
30 seconds for everybody. Go ahead, Mark, and then Racer, then Black Native, then ODB.
Oh, okay, let me just hurry up and get in. Everybody shout out to all the co-hosts and stuff like that. I just want to hurry up and get my 30 seconds in, man. Definitely, man, if this room was a white European, Anglo-Saxon, white supremacy Italian room, right? And they was introducing black candidates like Marcel or Deion Jenkins and stuff like that. They'll ask them about 2 or 3 questions, then they'll throw them out like going 200 miles per hour on the expressway, because they're going to move the conversation on, right? They ain't going to sit there and just be lollygag or circling the wagons next day. Man, they're going to listen, because they not letting you represent them. Like, you know what I'm saying? We can't have people come in and represent. They're not going to let you represent. They're going to get that, and they're going to stump on that black candidate's head like he's not even there or she's not even there. They're going to be talking over your head. They got to move on with the conversation. And so what they're doing is moving. They already made their mind up. This one we're going to have to.
Correct. Let's go to Racer, and then let's go to Black Native, and then ODB.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all for letting me speak. I'll make this real quick. First of all, that was me that made the zesty comment earlier in the space. So, we talking about accountability. The name calling wasn't unnecessary, but I do stand on my statement, because any brother in the room understood why I said it when I said it. So, but I still apologize to the room for the disrespect. As far as Gabe is concerned, this dude is a writer. So his comments and the things that he's tweeting out, he perfectly has an understanding of what he's doing, and what his agenda is. I'm unclear at the particular point, but it's definitely white supremacist behavior, and it's definitely a condescending point of view, as far as I'm concerned, to sit there and basically try to implement yourself in family disputes of any kind, and I'll land on that. But I just want to
much respect. Absolutely, you hit it. Absolutely. Go to Black Native, then ODB.
Thank you for allowing me to speak in this space. I just want to say that if this Gabe dude has any kind of decorum about himself, he would drop out, because if he sees that a majority of people have issues with him and the statements that he has said about the black family, he should fucking bow down gracefully or not gracefully and move on. And I just want to say I am from Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, and I have grew up around Italians my whole life, and I know how they get down. So that's all I had to say.
Much respect. Great. Thanks for wrapping it up. Let's go to ODB, then Immortal.
Yeah, I appreciate the space, the host and the co-host, But this greasy meatball is disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. And I don't know if anybody touched on the fact that he's part of Italian organizations that plan on gentrifying the ward anyway. You know what I mean? So he's problematic as hell. You know what I mean? I forget whoever's in this space, whoever dropped that Venmo of his organization's agenda, please drop that again, because I was looking at it and it tells how the first thing that they were doing is saving Columbus Day, and then they plan on gentrifying the wards. They have a bunch of plans of how to get land grants, how to do this, how to do that, so they can Italianize that whole area.
So this greasy meatball has a trick back to him, just like the rest of these pale people. So let's leave him. Let's like he said, throw him out the car going 200 miles an hour.
Much respect. I agree. Let's go to Immortal. And then Ra, then we'll wrap up with Dwan B. Let's give Dwan B the last word, and then the co-host, and then we'll wrap this up.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak today, family. Last thing I'll say about that situation is trust that white boy to be himself, and trust yourself to know him well. Trust him to be himself, and trust yourself to know him well. I think you're doing good. So I'm out, family.
Much respect.
Yo, peace and black power. Is it my turn? This is Raheem Shabazz.
It's on you, brother.
All right. Peace to the family. I just want to say, it's problematic that he's trying to save Columbus Day. That should tell us who he is off top. And as far as those that are continuously showing support for him, we gotta recognize that there are two type of black people. There are those who want to go back to picking cotton, and there are those that see a need for a revolt in the slave quarters. And if you're really about reparations, then you know what type of black person you should be. And we also got to keep in mind is that everything we do, say, and think has to contribute to the empowerment of black people and to reparations. And those that are supporting this so-called white supremacists are definitely off cold. My name is Raheem Shabazz, and that's it for me. Peace and black power, family.
And that's the way to cook if you're going to cook. Go on ahead and do it like that. Dwan B, we'll go to you, and then we'll close it on out with the host. Much respect. Dwan B, you there, brother? Are you busy? Let's go ahead and go to Linus Crown, and then let's close it on out, you guys. Dwan B must be busy.
Absolutely. I want to thank everybody for trusting us enough to even come into this space and to listen to what was said. I understand that there's a lot of intra-lineage politics and things that have been happening, but it's a beautiful thing to see. We come together when it's time to come on code and thwart out enemies from within, from outside, you know what I'm saying, of our lineage. And yeah, I just think that we should engage in these constructive conversations more often, and also have conversations with people directly, you know, when you have questions. But when it comes, try to give your people more of the benefit of the doubt than the open enemy. I'm going to land my plane. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And I say, if we're going to forgive somebody, let's say forgiveness for our own first. Forget everybody else, because we've seen how everybody else really feels about us, from the diaspora to white folks to, you know, wannabe white folks. Everybody is against FBA. So the only thing we have is our code. As long as we stay on code, I think we'll make sure that we arrive at reparations and that the money actually will get to us. So I'm willing that check hit that mailbox. And then we'll close with that, Eve.
Much respect to the room, to the speakers. I appreciate y'all being here with us this evening. Like I said, the New Black Media is live in like now. You should definitely check them out. I'm not going to stop you from being in here if you wanted to be in here. Maybe make another space or something. I don't know. But we've said a lot tonight, and the letter of the day is C, not for coon, but for constructive conversation. And if you look to our elders, Neely Fuller Jr. and the like, they tell us how to have these conversations without fumbling the bag, I guess. So if we could just continue to look to them for the guidance, they're still here. And I think that we can ask questions, make sure that we get the right answer before we move on to the next question, and we will have changed our situation overnight. Black first, and y'all have a good night.